I extend my warmest welcome to all of you. Thank you for being a part of this momentous celebration. I now take the opportunity to invite on stage our chief guest, Shri S. Krishnan, Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. A huge round of applause, please. Welcome, sir. Also join me in welcoming on stage Shri Arvind Kumar, Director General, STPI. Thank you, sir. May I also request the presence of Shri Vishal Dhuppar, Managing Director, NVIDIA South Asia on stage. Welcome, sir. It's my honor to invite Shri Tejas Goenka, Managing Director, Tally Solutions, to join us. Welcome, sir. Let us also extend a heartfelt welcome to Ms. Soumya Singh Rathore, co-founder, Winzo. Together, these luminaries illuminate our path towards a rich future full of possibilities. Their collective wisdom and experience are invaluable to our discussions today. I now request Shri Arvind Kumar to felicitate our chief guest, Shri S. Krishnan ji. A very befitting gift on the occasion of the World Environment Day today. Thank you for doing the honors, sir. I now take the opportunity to invite on stage Dr. Devesh Tyagi to felicitate our dignitaries. The start to this Foundation Day celebrations could definitely not have been better. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Ms. Soumya Singh Rathore. Thank you for doing the honors, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, as we commence today's festivities, let us light the lamp, a symbol of purity, goodness, and our collective quest for knowledge. This act signifies the shedding of darkness and the ushering in of a new dawn of ingenuity and prosperity. I humbly invite our dignitaries to the dais for the auspicious beginning. शुभं Thank you for that very radiant and auspicious start to the day. It's my honor to welcome to the dais Shri Arvind Kumar, Director General STPI, to set the tone with his welcome address. With his profound leadership and vision, he has significantly contributed to the evolution and growth of STPI, enhancing India's stature on the global IT and ITeS map. Under his guidance, STPI has not only expanded its reach and infrastructure, but also fostered a nurturing ecosystem for startups and innovation across the country. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Namaste. Very good morning. It's really my honor to welcome you all on this 33rd Foundation Day. Today, it's really marked a proud moment for all STPI members as we are going to celebrate our 33rd Foundation Day. We have given dedicated services to IT industry since 1991, and it is all because of effort of hard work of all of you. I am very privileged to welcome Honorable Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Sri S. Krishnanji, whose guidance and motivation inspire us to take initiative for promoting IT/ITeS industry and nurturing the startup ecosystem. I personally feel very lucky and fortunate to get chance to work with such a learned person as my boss, as a secretary, mighty. It's really it's fortunate of all STPI. Whenever you meet from him, you will definitely get something which you didn't know till then. I mean, his guidance, his acumen for knowledge, either on economics, finance, or this industry, is unparalleled, unmatched. I also welcome renowned industry experts, stalwarts, technology transform leaders, and Managing Director, NVIDIA South Asia, Sri Bisal Dhuparji. I welcome Managing Director, Tally, Sri Tejas Goenka, and co-founder with Binjo Games, Mrs. Soumya Singh Rathore. I welcome all the respected dignitaries of the dais, all the distinguished invitees and media on this occasion. Over the past 3 decades, STPI journey has been marked by a remarkable milestone and significant achievement. We started our journey from 3 centers. Now we have 65 centers across the country. And today, IT/ITeS services revenue has reached to $250 billion US. STPI has played a very crucial and important role for nurturing the IT industry so that it could have reached now to this stage. The exports from STPI registered unit has also reached to 9.19 lakh crores. Out of 65 centers, We have 57 centers, which is in tier 2, tier 3 city. So now ministry's mandate to us is how to expand entrepreneurship, how to expand IT industries to tier 2, tier 3 cities. As a result of that, we have 55 centers across the country, which is in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. We have created around 14.7 lakh square feet space for incubation of our startups, small IT industry in the country. We have been implementing agency for various projects of ministry. One of them is called IBPS, which has been welcomed by the industry. We have created a lot of employments, lot of revenue, and migration of tier 2, migration of BPOs to tier 2 and tier 3 cities. We are also running a scheme called EMC 2.0, and we have approved 5 projects. Andhra Pradesh, Haryana, Maharashtra, Uttarakhand, and Karnataka has already taken advantage of this EMC projects, and some projects approval is in pipeline. Apart from IT industry, we have also moved to a startup ecosystem in this country. We have created 24 Center for Entrepreneurship across the country, which are domain specific. Where are we nurturing more than 1,000 startups in the country? All are tech startups. Those centers are domain specific. We have centers for blockchain, we have centers on AI, we have centers for IoT, we have centers for health tech, we have centers for AR, VR. So all across cutting edge technology, which is emerging technologies, we have center specific dedicated to our STPI centers. Recently, we also launched under the guidance of Secretary Sir, program is called Leap Ahead, in which we have given intensive and extensive mentorship to around 90 startups. This was in offline mode and online mode both. And this selection has been done across pitching in all over the country. Out of those 90 startups, we have taken around 25 startups to TIE Silicon Valley program, where many of them got lead either for their funding or in terms of the technology. Today, on this momentum occasion, we also found one gap that though there are multiple startups are working in the same domain sometimes, or they can supplement or complement to each other. So today we have a plan to launch a platform we named as SayujNet, in which all the startups across the country can connect to each other. They can share their thought, they can share about their product. They can also connect to mentors, they can connect to investors, and that will help all startups to all, at least tech startup to come under one umbrella for connecting to each other. So this program, this portal we are going to launch today. Similarly, we have incubation space across the country, but this is today being allocated on the basis of physical interface between the STPI directorate and the IT industry officers who come to them. Now we are also going to create a portal wherein you can get space across the country which will be available online. So you can see it, you can book it wherever you are. You may be having office STPI Pune, but if you want some space in STPI Gurgaon for sometimes, you can get it. Similarly, you may be having your office at maybe Bhagalpur. Now you want something to be done at Gurgaon, you can have that space which will be allocated online. Apart from supporting, nurturing IT industry, we also have one mandate wherein we have to provide technical support, technical training to our new generation. We are going to have one MOU with Sabut Foundation, who is going to provide technology training on emerging tech through STPI. We also have, because this startup require a lot of cloud service services, which is cloud services, could be data center services. So we are also going to launch one platform along with in PPP mode with Yotta, we is calling as Ananta, where we can provide cloud services to start up the small IT industry, which will be helpful for developing deep tech product for them. We aim to continue driving the growth of IT sector, fostering innovations, and ensuring that India remains a leader in the global digital economy. Today's celebration is not just reflecting on our past achievement, but also envisioning the future. It also reaffirming our commitment to excellence, innovation, and inclusivity. We are here to celebrate the spirit of collaboration and partnership that has been instrumental to our success. Together, we will continue to build on the strong foundation laid over the years and achieve greater heights. Thank you all for being a part of this incredible journey. Thank you very much.
Many thanks for that comprehensive roundup of the exemplary work that STPI has been steering, sir. Let us now visually embark on STPI's transformative journey through a short video celebrating our milestones and vision that propels us into a future brimming with potential. I request the AV team to play the video, please.
A land of innovation and technology has witnessed a remarkable journey in the field of software development and IT services. And this transformational journey has been possible because of one organization known as Software Technology Parks of India. Established on 5th June 1991 by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology after merging 3 STPs, STPI has been instrumental in facilitating software exports and driving the growth of the Indian ITeS industry to newer heights. It provides a conducive ecosystem for software companies, startups, and entrepreneurs, enabling them to thrive in a highly competitive global market. STPI provides statutory services, datacom services, incubation services, centers of entrepreneurship, COE, next generation incubation scheme, NGIS, BPO schemes, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, VAPT services, security operations center, SOC services, project management consultancy, PMC services, electronics manufacturing clusters, EMC scheme, compulsory registration order, CRO, to IT companies, startups, government and academic institutions. Due to the right policy measures and liberal style of functioning, software exports from STPI registered companies marked an exponential growth from 17 crore rupees in financial year 1991-92 to over 9 lakh crore rupees in financial year 2023-24. Likewise, from 3 STPI centers in the 90s to 65 centers today, STPI has created 14.62 lakh square feet state-of-the-art infrastructure across the country, out of which 9.2 lakh square feet in Tier 2 and 3 cities. For nurturing the startup ecosystem pan-India, STPI established 24 centers of entrepreneurship and also executing next generation incubation scheme. These centers of entrepreneurship are focusing on the domains like Internet of Things, IoT, blockchain, fintech, artificial intelligence, agri-tech, gaming and animation among others. Today, 552 startups are leveraging the lab and infrastructure facilities of it and developed 644 products and filed 339 IPRs. To support startups pan-India, the next generation incubation scheme has been implemented from 12 Tier 2 locations. Under this scheme, seed funding of up to rupees 25 lakh rupees is provided to each beneficiary or supported startup. The scheme has so far funded 106 startups and supported a total of 530 startups who have developed 661 products and filed 451 IPRs. These initiatives and efforts will transform our country into a software product nation and create ample opportunities for the youth. The story of STPI is a testament to the power of vision, perseverance, and technological excellence. Together, we shall continue to shape India's tech future.
Together, we shall continue to shape India's tech future. What an exhilarating journey. Reflecting on the journey we've just witnessed, it is clear we stand at the cusp of an era defined by innovation and technological foresight. Today, we are exceptionally privileged to have with us a distinguished panel of pioneers who are not just envisioning the future of technology, but are actively shaping it with groundbreaking work. Let me now call to the dais Sri Vishal Dhuppar, a Managing Director, NVIDIA South Asia, for a special address. He has significantly advanced computing and AI in India through strategic partnerships and leadership roles, including as chairman of the Telangana AI Mission and member of the World Economic Forum, AI Advisory Council of India. Recognized among top AI influencers, he champions AI's transformative potential across industries. Looking forward to your address, sir.
Namaskar. What a video. I still have goosebumps on that. Mr. Krishnan, Mr. Arvind Kumar, my friends Tejas and Soumya. It's a true privilege to be here, and I'm humbled by that. I come to you as no technologist, as no scientist, but a very humble observer. And over the next 10 minutes, I'm going to take you to a journey, the journey of the earth, the economics of the earth, the frontier, where we are boldly moving towards. And I want to share with you, and I want to talk to you about it. And hopefully, by the end of the 10 minutes, we would create that Bharat for products. The vision that STPI created, the vision that all of us can culminate, hopefully will make that big difference. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about a new industrial revolution. An industrial revolution exactly the way it started 200 years back. You took water, brought it onto a machine, you lit it by fire, and suddenly electricity came out. You took atoms and electrons came in. A lot of people were suspect what benefit it'll do. Imagine standing here today without electricity. It's not possible to talk to you. We are in the midst of the next industrial revolution. This industrial revolution does something that has never happened before. This industrial revolution is about producing tokens. My friends who are scientists, those who are mathematicians, will understand this as floating point numbers. The floating point numbers come into a machine, which is the electrons, and out comes another token, which has intelligence embedded inside that. Why is this useful? Because there's intelligence. Think about it for a second. You take your digital experience, yours, my digital experience, you run it on a machine, and that data, which is a representation of the numerical number, the floating point, brings out an output which is called a token. When that token is rephrased, you call it English, you call it Hindi, you call it proteins, you call it chemicals, you call it articulation of robotics, you call it articulation of the steering wheel. How did this commence? Just in last 15 years, we came to an understanding there's a possibility of augmenting the work of our computer scientists. In 2012, the renaissance of AI was brought upon us, called the Big Bang of AI. The big bang of AI brought the element of data, the algorithm called the deep neural network or deep learning that ran on a brand new processor called GPU, and a magic happened that we could now suddenly do translation, summarization, we could look at the messy data, we could distinguish between a cat and a dog, and more importantly, we solved humanity's largest problem called perception. And then, because of the work that was being done upon, we moved a step forward. Now, not only could we classify the data and understand the data, we could now also reason with the data. Not only could we reason with the data, we could actually produce a brand new content. Never in humanity have you produced a brand new content. The entire computer science has been about last 60 years about retrieving data, whether it's your phone, whether it's your PC, and even if you go to yesteryears, your servers was all built to retrieve our data. Now you are generating data. A brand new generation of a data which requires least amount of energy, and energy that used to be done back in the data centers only is touched when you need to do, is a brand new paradigm. This whole brand new paradigm is what our pursuit is. Today, you take few prompts, and some of you who have used ChatGPT, Perplexity, and the other tools would realize that you take few prompts and you get answers, and you build answers to what you require. I almost can predict in next 4 or 5 years, there would be a digital assistant that based on the prediction of your experiences will figure out a brand new product. It'll do market research. It'll create a product. It'll negotiate the prices. It'll strategize marketing and PR, and output will be a marketplace. The day when your websites and your mobile app will be replaced by a digital assistant is not too far off, containing the same value proposition that you hold with yourselves. So you're not giving up on your value proposition. The interaction is moving to what I call talking to the data in real time. You talk, the data talks to you, and you do it impromptu, in real time. And that's the future that we are building in front of us. If that was true, then what exactly is this whole thing that is propelling it? And what's propelling is computation. The power of computation has transformed in last 15 years completely. When AlexNet, that started the renaissance of AI, was brought in, it had 82% accuracy. Okay, think about it, that there were 18% false inputs, or errors as we call it. Every 6 months, thanks to the computational power, we halved the error rate. So 18 became 9, 9 became 4.5, 4.5 became 2.25, and so forth. And in 7 years, we came to a stage of believing what our AI was giving as an output. Now, this is called scale. And scale is what is permitting large language models to give you the kind of results that we are aspiring, so that these digital assistants can work with us as our collaborators, augment our work, increase our productivity. Let me share with you what is happening right now. So all of you have heard about ChatGPT's state-of-the-art model called 4.0. It has 1.8 trillion parameters. So it's a brain, and inside the brain, you got decision-making neurons which are helping you to take a decision. Now think about any of the top scientists. and think about Edison, because talking about lights and electricity and things like that. So think about Edison, that you have a brain that is so large. What does a large brain require? More inputs. Because the more you can read, the more you can consume, the better you function. A 1.8 trillion foundational model brought in by OpenAI requires close to 30 billion quadrillion tokens, the same numerical value. Okay, I repeat, 30 billion with 9 zeros, quadrillion with 15 zeros is what it requires. So we said that the instrument of the new industry is the GPU. So let's assume this GPU that you all talk about basically can perform 1 quadrillion instructions per second. And let's not talk about 50 billion, let's talk about 30 billion. This 30 billion, if it has to process as a single GPU, will require 30 billion seconds. Simple maths, 1,000 years. How are you getting every new language model every 6 months? And it's a step up by making the GPU bigger and bigger. And that GPU that is becoming bigger and bigger is a transformation, rephrase, reimagination of compute. So that you can now do that work not in 1,000 years, but in 6 months. And that's called AI Factory. So now you've taken your data centers and you've transformed those data centers into AI factories. And this is the reason my friend whom I'm right now looking at is able to provide you 1 million tokens at 100 Indian rupees. Ma'am is sitting on your right. This gentleman can give you 1 million tokens which has intelligence at 100 rupees. Think about it. And if we can take this AI factory and create it in India in volume, what will we end up doing? What we'll end up doing for this 5,000 years of civilization, its history, its culture, its sensitivity, its common sense, will embed it here in India. We will take the prowess of our computer skills. We'll take these 23 different languages, 1,500 dialects, and make 1.4 billion people work on productivity tool that probably resides in their pocket, also called the smartphone. And then, not just the people who had the computer, which was less than 1%, the entire 100% of the population will be productive. And that reminds me that pretty much what Morgan Stanley said, we'll have the inverse of a pyramid. And those of you who are keen on economic numbers, look at it. When the inverse of the pyramid takes place, prosperity of the nation happens. The prosperity of the nations is always built on an industrial revolution, which is built in factories. These factories is what we need to build in India, so that our domain experience are embedded in India. We create intelligence in India, and anything that we have in surplus, we export it. And by that virtue, you will create products in India. We'll change the dimension of manufacturing from 15% of the GDP, which in any case will move to 20. We can accelerate that. And ladies and gentlemen, that's our future. That's our journey, not only for the Earth's frontier, Earth's valuation, but our country, our nation, to make a difference there. Thank you very much. I hope that was useful.
Well, Thank you very much for that very enlightening address, Sri Dhuppar. The path of innovation and collaboration you have highlighted is truly inspirational, and change is the only constant going forward, as said by you. Next on, we welcome Sri Tejas Goenka, Managing Director, Tally Solutions, to share his perspectives. Leading the development of next generation Tally product roadmap to create a connected business environment for small and medium businesses globally. Tally has expanded its presence beyond India to Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia, United States, and Canada under his leadership. Enlighten us with your words, sir. The dais is all yours.
Good morning, everybody. Honorable Sir, Director General, Vishal, Soumya, thank you guys for having me here. It's an honor to be able to share my thoughts on the topic of the day, which is creating Bharat and positioning Bharat as a tech product nation. By the end of this, I hope to build on what the previous speakers have shared and share my thoughts on why I believe that building India into a tech product or a software product nation can be a foundational pillar to achieve our Honorable Prime Minister's vision for Amrit Kal. The second point is also some thoughts on what I believe we need to do in order to take us there. In the conversations over the last few minutes and a little bit on the floor as well, it's broadly clear that everyone here believes that in the product nation story or the tech product nation story. We want to become a market that is not a consumer market of 1.4 billion people for the world only, but a producer and a creator of technologies that serves the world. We've all seen companies in the US and Europe provide incredible value in their own economies, but also a tremendous amount of soft power they have across the rest of the world. We want that for businesses and companies in India. We want the next big thing and the next big company to come out of India. But it's not just that. Software products, technology products can have a transformational impact on the country and on our population at home. Today itself, we have an incredibly large number of internet-connected devices that is powered by a lot of the digital public goods infrastructure, and it makes a tremendous amount of impact to the last mile. If we simply cultivate and curate this ecosystem a little bit more, push the innovation a little bit more, education can reach, quality education can reach the last mile, the last child, and every single adult. Quality healthcare of the same thing, reach every single family, every single member in every single area. You'll have every dhandawala getting access to better information, more productivity. Every farmer getting more access to markets and information. There's a lot that we can do. And it all seems like many of this may already be happening. What have technology products got to do with this? So I want to share a little bit of a story from the past, a story that I've been familiar with, a story that deeply involves my family. Today I'm proudly talking as a representative of Tally. We are a small software product company, I will say, that has managed to make a tremendous amount of impact in this country, and we're hoping to do that for the rest of the world. I'm born in a very atypical Marwadi family, never told to run a family business. My Dadaji, the late Sri S.S. Goenka, and my father, Sri Bharat Goenka, they used to run a bobbin factory in Bangalore. Bobbins are these wooden sticks that are used in textile manufacturing. And one fine day, at that time, obviously very unfortunate, but 38 years later, quite fortunate, that the factory burnt down. And the only thing that was left was a computer. My dad is an enthusiastic mathematician and a math student, but a more enthusiastic self-taught programmer. He went to work and we got Tally out. 38 years later, Tally is pretty much a household name. Today, millions of business owners, chartered accountants run their businesses on the back of Tally. Today, lakhs of job seekers every single year enter the white-collar workforce by learning Tally. There are thousands of sellers that have built their houses that have sent their kids to fantastic educational institutes, provided for their families on the business of Tally. All this from a few hundred people employed at Tally across India. That is the power of what a software product can do, this multiplier effect. Reach every single household, in every single mohalla, in every taluk, in every district, if it is built right. Tally has been around for 38 years. The reason that it's survived the PC era, the server computing era, the smartphone era, and even the AI era is simply because it's been built on strong foundational principles. When we started with Tally, we had to make everything. We had to, in fact, till date, we have our own database, we do our own memory manager, we run our own math routines. In fact, we have our own language as well. All of this was for one simple reason: to create a product that a business owner in Tinsukia can use confidently in the difficult environment in which they are in. And there are only a handful of companies that really create at this low level. And what we've learned over the last 38 years, that what makes a successful product or what makes these runaway successes is not in the user interface. It is not in the application logic, but it is at the lowest levels of core innovation. If you look at the global examples, Google's obsessiveness with speed is what got it to be the global giant it is today. WhatsApp's, again, obsessiveness with speed and reliability made it the player that it is today. Facebook's invention of the graph database changed the landscape of social media. Every single large organization has survived and thrived because of innovation at these low levels. We want that out of India. Now, if we look at the next few years, there are many, many companies that are striving to create such large products. And I think that we can do a lot to just spur this a little bit more. And there are 4 areas that come to mind. The first is to create the right ambition, attitude, and skill set in our talent pool. Traditionally, we have been a great and fantastic exporter of IT services. And our education system has now started getting catered towards delivering those IT services. We are users of technology, not creators of technology. We need to cultivate that, and we must do it grounds up. The second point is to create a regulatory framework and a policy framework that enables us to support such product companies, technology product companies. Today we treat, for example, software products and services in the same breath, but they're 2 very different animals. Software products, for example, are designed to be traded. That is how they reach every citizen. That is how they reach every family, and that is how they reach every household. Services by design are built for customized use. A simple thing like applying TDS on software products makes it very difficult to scale any product company. But there are many more such things. We need a supportive regulatory framework. The third is every single product business is IP-led and investment-heavy. Funding and incentives are critical. Access to right funding, access to incentives such as R&D benefits, exports, IP protection, all of these are foundational in cultivating the ecosystem. And the last point is a softer point around just cultivating and having events like this where we can talk to each other. Government, academia, founders, investors, they all need to speak, ideate for that common purpose of building something that has a lasting impact. I hope over the last few minutes I've been able to share these 2 views of why I think building a tech product nation and cultivating this culture is foundational for the next several decades in India. And I hope that I've been able to convey the points on what it could take to build this nation as well. I just want to offer on behalf of my company, any help that STPI needs, MIT needs, we are here. Please let us know how we can help. Thank you guys for patiently listening.
Thank you, Sri Goenka, for that very innovative address. You've highlighted that innovation is about thinking outside the box until you realize that there is no box that exists. The roadmap for technological empowerment and entrepreneurship you have outlined sets a compelling agenda for our future actions. It is now my pleasure to invite Ms. Soumya Singh Rathore, co-founder Winzo, to the podium. Winzo, ladies and gentlemen, is India's largest vernacular social gaming platform. Ms. Soumya has been recognized as a leading female founder in the tech industry and has established a $50 million developer fund to support gaming and gaming projects globally. Ms. Rathore, we are eager and all ears to hear your thoughts. Over to you.
Thank you. Namaste and good morning to everyone. Thank you, Honorable Secretary Shri Krishnan sir, DG Shri Arvind Kumar sir, Director Shri Rakesh Dubey sir, and the entire STPI team for giving Winzo this prestigious platform to contribute to. I'd like to start by congratulating STPI for 33 years of relentless leadership in creating an ecosystem for startups and entrepreneurs. This has benefited my company and me as an entrepreneur immensely. Thanks. The ethos of innovation, democratization of entrepreneurship, and Make in India for the World technology resonates with the ethos of my company, Winzo, and its future dreams. Growing up in the 90s, I was inspired by IT services sector, a hero sector that created a lot of jobs, became the gateway for export of technology and services, contributed significantly to the GDP. This has made possible because India has world's largest English-speaking workforce in STEM, the most important anchor for our future growth. We are undoubtedly the world's capital for engineering talent and has delivered solutions that are unparalleled in scale and cost. I fondly remember traveling with my father who served the government of India, where I accompanied him to the Siemens factory in Germany, where he was out for an inspection. After that visit, he asked me, "What did you learn?" I told him that it seems like a great place to work. He told me in a fairly dissatisfied response to my reaction, actually it's an opportunity for India. India requires unique engineering solutions as global solutions are sometimes too expensive and cannot be scaled effectively in the Indian context. If you create cheaper solutions in India, the German kids will be coming to our Indian factories. This thought of my father stayed with me. This insight stayed with me as an entrepreneur and was a guiding principle in my journey. One of the most remarkable examples of our engineering marvel is the eighth wonder of the world, UPI, which has breached 100 billion in annual transactions. Thanks to India's robust digital infrastructure, we have the world's largest digitally connecting paying consumer base of 880 million users. Affordable mobile data rates and comprehensive digital infrastructure has brought consumers from remote villages and small towns to create digital ecosystem on which entrepreneurs like ourselves can build. On Winzo, 90% of our 180 million registered users come from tier 2 and beyond of Bharat. In fact, in 2020, 20% of users made the first ever digital payments on our platform. Companies like Winzo are testament to this new digital India, where entrepreneurs are thriving. They can build without the need of massive capital, which was required to get into the physical world. In fact, in today, Winzo is contributing 1 in every 250 UPI transactions that are happening in India. I just want to take a moment to share my personal background and my journey as an entrepreneur and as a female entrepreneur. I'm a master's in psychology. I come from a family where everybody was part of government services. As a first generation entrepreneur, I faced several doubts back in 2018 when we started Vidzo. I dreamt of building a consumer tech company without having a degree in technology. Today, my co-founder and my team of 180-member engineers who are building out of our Delhi office, we together stand here in front of you as world's largest female-led gaming company, Vinzo. We've built a technology platform, all 150 engineers from single office in Delhi, that has a level of concurrency greater than the big billion-day sale that is seen on e-commerce. Every single day we see that concurrency. This complex distributed system allows real-time computing to facilitate real-time experience, even on low-end devices with low RAM and patchy internet, a problem that no other country in this world has looked as an engineering problem. We have proudly registered more than 25 patents across the world for this innovation that we have made in India. We are very proud to share that as a company, we also launched in Brazil. We want all our fellow entrepreneurs to also think of globe as the market, not just a single market. We are in new India where possibilities are boundless and nothing stops us from building a tech product nation. As a female entrepreneur, I very fondly recollect lessons that I had learned from some of the female leaders who were very close to me growing up. I once remember the current DG, who also became the first DG of CISF, female DG of CISF. Growing up, once I asked her, how do you manage getting through the glass ceiling? And she said, I never saw a glass ceiling. I just always went for what I dreamt of. And you'll be surprised that when you continue dreaming, there'll be people who support you in the way. And that has stayed with me. Today, I continue to dream, maybe not as a tech entrepreneur who may have a very cliche path as a tech entrepreneur, but as an entrepreneur who teams up with a team of supporters and who had made every single dream of building a tech company which is made in India for the world possible. And with that, I'd like to share a few lines that have inspired me through the very difficult days of my journey. परिंदे रुक मत, तुझ में जान बाकी है, मंजिल दूर है, बहुत उड़ान बाकी है, आज या कल मुट्ठी में होगी दुनिया तेरी, जीतने को सारा आसमान बाकी है. जय हिंद.
Thank you, Ms. Rathore, for your inspiring address and for converting our screens into playgrounds. The narrative of innovation, engagement, and growth in the gaming industry you've shared today opens new horizons for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have another round of applause for our esteemed speakers. Their contributions are not just shaping the present, but illuminating the path towards a future rich with technological advances and collaborative success. Ladies and gentlemen, in our continuous effort to foster innovation and collaboration among startups, we are thrilled to introduce a groundbreaking platform today, Sayoj. Sayoj is a networking and resource discovery platform designed exclusively for startups and aims to catalyze connections that lead to growth and collaboration. I now request the AV team to play a short video of Sayoj. Fantastic. I now request our chief guest, Shri S. Krishnan, to launch Sayoj. A very special moment for all of us here at STPI. Thank you for doing the honors, sir. I now request our chief guest, Shri S. Krishnan, to once again please join us and announce Ananta, hyperscale infrastructure to support services that promise to redefine cloud technologies. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Ananta, our latest initiative in partnership with Yota, will provide cloud services under a public-private partnership model, offering unparalleled resources and scalability to startups across India. A very special moment for us. Request the IT team to please once again play the video.
Welcome to the future. Introducing a revolution in cloud computing for India. Ananta represents a historic moment in the evolution of the cloud. This is a journey that will redefine the boundaries of innovation and empower enterprises and individuals alike to reach new heights of productivity and efficiency. Hosted in STPI's secure, redundant data centers in India, Ananta is not just another cloud platform, it's a game changer for India's sovereignty. Ananta is a platform that not only meets but exceeds the needs of today's digital landscape. As we continue to push boundaries of technology, we invite you to join us on this incredible journey of innovation and discovery. Embrace the future of cloud computing with Ananta, our hyperscale cloud platform.
Shri S. Krishnan ji, request you to kindly do the honors once again, please. So we are happy to announce that in continuing our journey towards creating an enabling ecosystem for startups, we are excited to unveil STPI Workspace Portal today. This digital gateway is designed to streamline the process of incubation and allocating incubation spaces across India, ensuring our innovators and entrepreneurs have the support they need right where they need it. I now request the AV team to play the workspace video, please. Thank you for helping us unveil the STPI Workspace portal, sir. Our next agenda highlights a strategic collaboration aimed at empowering our workforce with the skills required in the digital era. The MOU exchange between STPI and Sabut Foundation marks a significant step towards facilitating training in emerging technologies. Let's welcome on stage Shri Rakesh Dubey from STPI and Shri Sarabjot Singh Anand from Sabut Foundation to exchange the MOU. The dignitaries joining us for this momentous exchange. Capturing the moment with a group picture. Many congratulations once again. We look forward to bright, sunny days ahead. In an effort to further strengthen our startup ecosystem, we are proud to announce an MOU with DBS Bank. The partnership is tailored to support and provide mentorship along with expert guidance to startups, ensuring they have a robust backing required to scale new heights. Please join me in welcoming Shri Rajiv Bagga, Executive Director, Indian Head Government Business DBS, and Dr. Devesh Tyagi, Senior Director STPI for this exchange. And I request the dignitaries to join us for this feat. An iconic moment making the 33rd Foundation Day all the more special. Many, many congratulations once again. It is a very special moment as we are set to release a pivotal document that will serve as a beacon for our tech entrepreneurs and policymakers alike. The Cutting Edge Tech Forging India as a software product nation knowledge report is a comprehensive analysis aiming to guide and inspire our journey towards becoming a global tech powerhouse. I request the AV team to play a short video. Please join me in welcoming Shri Rakesh Dubey from STPI and Shri Ashish Dheer from One Lattice to join the dignitaries on the dais to launch the knowledge report. a moment to be remembered for times to come. Thank you for doing the honors. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with immense honor and privilege that we welcome our chief guest, Shri S. Krishnan, for a special address. Shri Krishnan is a senior bureaucrat having a vast experience in policy making with specialization in public finance. He has served government of Tamil Nadu for over 3 decades and has also been an advisor to International Monetary Fund. He is furthering the vision of Government of India for making the country take a leadership position in emerging tech. We are looking forward to your special address, sir.
Shri Arvind Kumar, Director General of STPI, Shri Vishal Dhupar, Managing Director of NVIDIA South Asia, Shri Tejas Goenka, Managing Director of Tally, Ms. Soumya Singh Rathore, Co-founder of Windsor Games, ladies and gentlemen. I think we are observing today a very important day in terms of the 33rd STPI Foundation Day. I think it's important to look back on these. It's 1/3 of a century that STPI has been in existence, and it's important to look back on these occasions to understand the path that we have traversed, what opportunities have been taken, and what lessons it has for what we need to do in the future. And 1991, the year of the structural reforms that India undertook, given certain circumstances, was also the same time that a new opportunity in terms of what we could do in the ITES world really opened up to us. And STPI as an organization led that from the front in a way that it worked for the rest of the country. Soumya has already told us how she took inspiration from the growth of this sector at that time and the potential that it had. And clearly, that was possible due to a number of factors. Some doors closed and naturally some doors opened. Today, when we look at what we would call the digital economy in India, it comprises 2 important parts. One, what happens on the software side, and the other, what happens on the hardware and the electronic side. At about the same time, thanks to the policies which got to be adopted in terms of lowering customs duties and various other measures, it meant that the hardware side suffered initially. But then it also meant that India's public got access to cheap electronics goods from whichever part of the world that they were made in. And as a result, India's position as an IT superpower was strengthened over the 90s, and we reached a particular level of competence in IT today that we are seen globally as the place from which most of the IT services are delivered. So that is a kind of way in which India is looked at, and we've grown and developed on that, and today we are seen as the place from which most of the digital public infrastructure is actually created and delivered. Another point which both our young entrepreneurs have emphasized, and emphasized why it gives them the foundation or the platform on which to build further businesses and innovation and to grow. So these are the achievements of which STPI has been an important part. You know, many years ago, the only IT park which would be established in any particular place would have been an STPI park. But it's the way that you catalyze something, and today the largest parks and everybody, so many private developers and others have built such large parks, and the whole place has been taken over by them. And when you look back, you realize that it was all kindled by a small catalytic intervention through STPI. So that is the kind of history, and as you can see, and many of the videos showed us, today most of STPI's presence is actually in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and which is the way we would like it to be. That is the way that prosperity spreads. That is the way that in today's world, especially in the post-pandemic world, where many people would prefer to work from places which are closer home, where the stresses and the strains on the larger cities is so much in terms of, aggregating talent and aggregating opportunity, that you can actually create it. Thanks again to the possibilities of networking, to the possibilities of connectivity, to the possibilities of being in a virtual world, that you can recreate whatever you get in a major city, even in a smaller location elsewhere in the country. And that, again, is something that STPI is doing today. Now, should STPI be doing the same thing all over again? And should we be stuck where we are at the kind of operations that we've been doing over the past many years? Possibly not. And I think that is where STPI has also shown us that it's an organization which is willing to adapt. It is an organization which is willing to learn and change with times. Tejas also mentioned that, one of the opportunities that need to be created are gatherings such as this, where different people come together, exchange views. In my experience, what I have found with STPI certainly is that they are an organization with tremendous convening power, possibly because of their history, possibly because so many IT companies, so many other companies in the technology world have been with STPI at some point or the other. They have this tremendous convening power where many such gatherings they can successfully organize. I have attended events of theirs where we have done work with venture capitalists, we've done work with startup locations, we have done work in the Northeast, in tier 2, tier 3 cities, and they are able to ensure that the leaders of industry in each of these areas are present on such occasions firsthand to offer what they can to the startups which are being mentored, to offer what they can in terms of their ideas, their expertise. In each of these events, they are able to deliver that. And that is a strength I think STPI needs to use. You have to become a mentorship platform for many of the young and expectant entrants to the startup industry. You need to be a mentorship platform which enables them to grow. You have the ability to bridge that. You've been there for almost a full generation. 33 years is typically a whole generation. It's typically the working career of somebody. That is the average tenure of a working career. So you would have seen people who have passed through your portals. You would have seen them mature as businesses. You would have seen them mature as enterprises. And many of those people can now give back effectively to the coming generations in terms of what needs to happen. And some of the support and some of that convening support which Mr. Tejas Goenka mentioned is something that STPI can certainly provide. And that's an important part. The second thing, of course, is to be on the cutting edge of technology. I think we are coming around a full circle. We are in a world today where software and hardware are converging, where you can't think of the two split from each other. We are talking today, and today's theme is all about how do we develop India as a product nation. And I think that's a very critical space where the two of them need to converge, and that is something, again, where STPI needs to enable. It is certainly something that you're already doing, but you probably need to do it on a much larger scale in terms of what can be done and how it can be operated at in a much larger, not just in terms of a scale or a stage, but also in terms of the manner in which all of this comes together for the country. Becoming a product nation is an important ambition that India has. In 2019, a policy was launched to make India a software product nation, or how do we promote more software products. Last year, we set up a committee under the chairmanship of the Principal Scientific Advisor, Professor Ajay Sood, to figure out how we can make India much more of a product nation. Why is that important? Some of it was already outlined by Mr. Tejas Goenka when he spoke in terms of what opportunities it creates, in terms of why you need to own a lot of the intellectual property, because ultimately that is where all the benefits and most of the profits go to. I mean, I'm very fond of saying this. You have an Apple phone, it probably costs about $1,000, right? Now, all that accrues, and we manufacture about 14% of Apple phones in India today. They are assembled in India. I've been to one of those factories. It employs a large number of people, nearly 50,000 people work there. But of that value, of the entire value addition, probably what is realized for the manufacturer, for everybody, all put together is about $200, right? I mean, that's what everyone shares in terms of the people who actually manufacture the inputs, in terms of the people who actually work on the process and put it all together. About $800 actually goes to the people who own the IP. And that probably goes to one location. So we have to be very conscious that those are the kind of margins that intellectual property, the ability to design products, the ability to bring them out, really provides. And when I've spoken to large software companies as to why they focus so much on services and not on products, their answer is very simple. With services, we have a captive market, there are no risks. I have a set margin of 20 to 30%, and I keep getting it every time. With products, you never know. You're never sure. Even a company, today's most successful product company today is probably represented on stage here today in terms of what they are able to do. But even they realize that you have to be upfront and ahead in the product market. So your next product, which competes with your previous product, is brought into the market in just a matter of 3 months. That's what you've done now. So this is the way that the product market works in terms of the risks that it entails, in terms of the risks that the entrepreneurs have to take, that the companies have to take in order to stay ahead of the game. It keeps them really alive and active. And that is something which is possible only in a highly entrepreneurial culture, which recognizes that there will be some wins, there will be some failures, but we need to back the possible winners to see that they are able to bring products into the market in a manner that really works for those whom they call their market. And in the Indian context, I think it's very important. There's a very valuable point, which again, Soumya made, that there are many of these products that need to be made for an Indian market, which may not be able to afford the very high prices, but is looking for a different set of utilities, which they can actually use and improve their lives. And that is where I think for our own nation, for our own market, and in addition to other markets across the world, if we are able to deliver that value, that is something that we can certainly do. And if STPI as an organization and MeitY as a ministry is able to play a role in actually engendering such an environment, in putting together such an ecosystem, and enabling India to emerge as a product nation, both in software embedded products, and to some extent even in hardware, I think it can make a huge difference. And this is why I think the ministry as such is aiming that the total value of the digital economy, covering both software and hardware, should, I mean, it's an ambitious target, but by about 2030, we should be looking at about $1 trillion as the overall value of this. It was already mentioned that the software industry in India is about $250 billion. Currently, the hardware industry is about $100 billion, so we are already talking about $350 billion as the size of this. So grow threefold and reach about $1 trillion by about 2030 is the way in which we really need to push the growth of the industry. It's something which is entirely possible. Today, the ministry is also trying to assess as to what is the size of the digital economy in India. There are multiple ways in which this is estimated. There are ways in which, some of them are clearly digital. There would be ICT industry, certain clearly electronic products which you could term digital. But today, both software and electronic parts and components are part of practically every other manufactured product. And in addition, the back end of many conventionally delivered services are also IT and ICT driven. So which means that there is an embedded digital component in almost every goods or service that we consume today. So then how do you estimate the value of the digital economy is something that we have embarked on right now. And rough estimates show that we are at about 8% of the total economy currently. Now, if you are at about 8% of the economy, today's economy, and if you want to be $1 trillion in 2030, so which means, and if it is a $5 trillion economy by then, you're basically talking about that 8% growing to about 20%. So that is the level of ambition for what the digital economy has and what the digital economy has the potential to do. Mr. Dupar, in his very, very clear explanation as to why artificial intelligence today represents the next industrial revolution, a very similar thought was echoed by the first deputy managing director of the IMF, Geeta Gopinath, in a panel that both of us had participated on, I think emphasizes the importance of what the potential that AI holds. And if it is truly part, and if it is to truly become the next element of the industrial revolution, then that is the kind of disruptive growth we need to see in the digital economy, and that is the kind of contribution which should get made in the years to come. So clearly we are on the cusp of some extremely interesting and significant developments which are to happen in this sector. This is a space that needs to be watched in the coming years and watched closely, and we need to be very, very active participants in this. And STPI has its role cut out in the days to come. They need to adapt to this role. The next next 1/3 of their century is not going to be anything like what the first 1/3 was. It's going to be different, significant, and that's a challenge to which we need to adapt as the digital economy grows and becomes significant and more important. And STPI should be as much part of this industrial revolution as it was a part of the last one. And clearly, I wish STPI very well in terms of their contribution to making India truly a digital product nation, and to making sure that we not just, becoming a large economy is a matter of course, given the size of population that we have. Becoming a large prosperous economy, a higher income economy is really the name of the game. Contribute to more jobs, higher value-added jobs, and more meaningful jobs is what STPI will need to do in the coming decade, so that India truly achieves its growth ambitions. Thank you very much for having me here this morning, and I wish STPI all the best. Thank you.
We can't thank you enough, sir, for your visionary leadership and this very enlightening address. I now request Shri Arvind Kumar ji to present a memento to Shri S. Krishnan. Thank you, sir, for doing the honors. I now request Dr. Devesh Tyagi to join us on stage and present a memento to our dignitaries. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for doing the honors, sir. I once again invite you on stage to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all the participants and especially our dignitaries through your vote of thanks, and also to continue and conclude this enriching inaugural address.
Good morning. Our chief guest, Secretary Mighty, Sri S. Krishnanji, dignitaries on dais, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you all for being us today, and you had been in past and look forward to take your cooperation and guidance in future as well. The thank you is a prayer that can't be seen or touched. It must be felt by heart. First and foremost, I convey my deep regards and heartily thank to our honorable chief guest, Secretary Mighty and Chairman Governing Council STPI for being us today. It is his constant motivation and guidance that we are getting such a source of energy and we are able to take ourselves to the new heights. Sir, thanks for talking about the STPI journey and giving us the vision and opportunity that lies in front of us in future. We'll keep ourselves reinventing and keep ourselves raising the bar for us in future as well. Thanks for the motivational speech, sir. Thank you very much. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the Managing Director, NVIDIA South Asia, Sri Vishal Dupparji, for his enlightening address. Sir, you have taken us towards the journey from last 15 years from data processing to AI, and we had shared your experience at NVIDIA. Thanks for being us with today. Thank you very much. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Ms. Soumya Singh Rathod, co-founder Vijo Games, for providing deep insights on tech startup ecosystem. Thanks, madam, for sharing your journey with us and the enthusiasm which was given to all of us in all our future endeavors. I would like to thank Sri Tejas Goenka ji, Managing Director at Tele, for highlighting the strength of ITeS industry and the startup ecosystem, which in turn is helping the motivation and the promotion and the R&D which our startups are needing. We also like to thank you for sharing your journey as well and the enthusiasm and the innovation that we need for all our future goals. Thank you very much. I extend my deep gratitude to our Director General, Sri Arvind Kumar ji, for guiding us in formulating the seminar and today's all initiatives that we have taken today. I would like to thank for being a director or being a person who is motivating us in taking or positioning Bharat as a tech startup nation. Thank you very much, sir. An event of this direction cannot happen overnight. The wheel start rolling months in advance. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team which is very motivated and dedicated. I cannot thank everyone enough for the involvement they had shown and the willingness they had expressed to take on completion of tasks beyond their comfort level to reach to such a successful program which we had witnessed today. In times to come today, we are having various initiatives that has been taken which will be keep motivating us, and the journey which we had taken up with the ITeS industry and the startup in future will be looking forward to them for their motivation and guidance. Thank you very much for today coming and joining us in our and going through our past journey and taking and giving us the guidance for the future journey. Thank you very much, sir.
Many thanks for that, Dr. Tyagi. The peacock or our mementos is very symbolic, just like it unfurls its feathers to display a beautiful array of colors, success in the same way means looking out for greater talents and realizing your full potential and brimming with success. Now, as we adjourn for a brief interlude, let's use this opportunity to network and share ideas over a short tea break. We shall join back here at 11:30 for an engaging session on Brand Bharat, harnessing the prowess of IT, ITeS for AI and deep tech. See you all on the other side of the break, and thank you once again to our dignitaries for marking the perfect start to our 33rd Foundation Day celebrations. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to begin our session for the day. As we celebrate the 33rd Foundation Day, I would like to take a moment to reflect how special the number is. The number 33 is connected to lots of surprising places. There are usually 33 bones in a person's spine, hence it's a number hidden within all of us. Fans of basketball might have noticed that lots of great players have chosen the number 33 for their jersey. It's become a number that stands for being really good at the game. We're looking forward to a year that is as interesting and unique as the number 33 itself. I request all the members present here to kindly get back to their seats as we are about to commence the session. Ladies and gentlemen, may we have your attention, please? Kindly return to your respective seats so that we can begin with the next very pertinent session. We'll be starting with the session in the next minute. Nice to see the hustling crowd returning back to places with the added enthusiasm as we begin our first session, first panel discussion titled Brand Bharat, Harnessing Prowess of IT, ITeS for AI and Deep Tech. Welcome to our distinguished session on Brand Bharat, Harnessing Prowess of IT, ITeS for AI and Deep Tech. A pivotal exploration into how India is leveraging its IT and ITeS strengths to become a global leader in artificial intelligence and deep technologies. This session promises to offer invaluable insights into the future of technology in India and how these advancements are crucial for the nation's growth and global positioning. To chair the session, let me take the opportunity to invite on stage Shri Krishan Kumar Singh, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Thank you for joining us, sir. Let me now invite our elite and dynamic panelists, Shri Sunil Gupta, co-founder, MD and CEO, YOTA. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Sunil K. Shekhawat, co-founder and CEO, Sanchi Connect. Dr. Sarabjit Singh Anand, co-founder, Tatras Data and Sabodh Foundation. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Shri Amit Chatterjee, Head, Startup Programs and Strategic Initiatives, Intel India. A very dynamic and interesting panel. Let's delve into the minds and visions of these leaders who are shaping not just the future of technology in India, but also the global narrative of innovation and progress. With the advancements in technology, there is a growing need for creating next-gen deep tech professionals who can drive innovation and progress. In line with this, let us hear from Dr. Sarabjot Singh Anand, co-founder, Tatras Data and Sabodh Foundation, about Sabodh's experiences in fostering the development of such professionals. Dr. Sarabjit Singh Anand is an accomplished academic with over 20 years of experience specializing in data science algorithms. With a strong background in academic research and industry consulting, he takes pride in training the next generation of data analysts and contributing to academia and industry alike. Inviting you to the podium, sir. The stage is all yours.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome, and it's indeed a pleasure to be here on such a momentous occasion. 33 years of STPI, and what they've achieved is exceptional. Now, a couple of months before STPI was established, fate took me away from these shores to the United Kingdom in 1990. And while I was there, I was very lucky that in 1993, I got exposed to this wonderful technology called artificial intelligence that is in the mainstream media today. When I reflect back now 30 years, having been in this space, I think there are a couple of things that are really important for our future generations. What I have realized is that what I am today, or where I have reached today, is primarily driven by the fact that I was in the right place at the right time, and that when I got opportunities, I grabbed them, and the exposures that we got. So to me, for any student, my mantra to them always is that when it's raining experiences, be a sponge. and learn from every experience that is available, whether it's a negative experience or a positive experience. And be risk takers. Take the chances that are given to you by the world around you. Now, continuing with this theme, a few years later, as I started to do my PhD in artificial intelligence, in the late 1990s, our research lab became part of an acquisition of a startup, which was in England, that had built this wonderful no-code, low-code platform, believe it or not, back in the 1990s for machine learning. And they were being acquired by SPSS. And so being at the right place at the right time again, because of that acquisition, one of our algorithms that we had developed in collaboration with this small startup in the United Kingdom became part of the acquisition, and we were propelled into the world of startups. So while doing my PhD, I started up my first organization in the commercial world, which was called Minet Technologies. And Minet won a lot of accolades. We actually won the IST, European IST Grand Prize, which gave us 125,000 euros to really become our seed capital for our company. And we went from strength to strength there, developing recommender system technologies. And in 2003, we decided that we had done enough in the commercial world. We sold the technology, moved back to academia. And for the next 8 years, I worked in academia, which was really my first love, right? I'd done my PhD. I was now enjoying the teaching. And then again, as luck would have it, being in the right place at the right time, the opportunity arose where somebody I was consulting for, an American entrepreneur, suggested to me that it was time to give up my cushy tenured position at the University of Warwick and move back to India and to start a data science company along with him. So I moved back here in 2012, and we started to develop technology. And as we've heard from the previous panelists as well, being inspired by what the service industry had achieved, we started to provide data science as a service to a number of organizations in the US primarily. But then something interesting happened. A couple of years into the work that we were doing, as we were growing organically, we had both kind of been through experiences of dealing with inorganic growth and felt we wanted now try and do this organically. And 2 years into our journey, what we found was that there were some pretty established players in the analytics space that had raised lots of money. And we weren't going to be able to really compete with them when it came to selling to the large organizations. And again, as a turn of fate, we decided that we are going to focus on something that most people don't focus on, and that was to work with startups. So the startups in the US, we recognized, had the biggest dearth of AI expertise and machine learning expertise, because all of the good folks that were coming through PhD programs in universities in the US were being consumed by the big tech companies, and rightly so. A lot of innovation, as we've seen in the last few years, has actually happened in the big tech companies. But there was a gap in the market, and so we started to work with these startups. We basically became their product development team for everything AI for them. And as we built those, we started to realize that there was a gap in the skill sets that were available to us in this country. I had, of course, like I said, my first love was teaching, so I had started to teach as adjunct faculty. ISB Mohali had invited me to teach on their program in 2018. And as I sat there, a friend of mine who was an assistant professor at the Guru Nanak Dev Engineering College in Ludhiana came up to me, and we sat down and had dinner together. And over dinner, we discussed the fact that we need to do something about skilling. And so in 2018, given our networks, academic networks, we spoke to our friends in Carnegie Mellon, in Porto, the University of Porto in Portugal, and various other universities in the US and UK, and put together a curriculum which I would proudly say is parallels what a student can get in an MS degree within the US. And just for a laugh, we decided that, well, we'll make it free of cost. So we decided that, we want to do things differently. We don't want this to be only a theoretical experience for our students. We want to make sure that what I had to do back in 1990 to go away from this country to get experiences that allowed me to grow wouldn't happen to any other youngster in this country. And so this free program that we started in 2018 with an initial batch of 9 students was a 6-month program. And of course, none other than Ajay Srivastavji, who ran the Mohali Center at that time, and is somewhere here in the audience, was our greatest support, because he gave us the space and gave us the time of his day to actually start the program then. So, we have a lot to thank STPI for. Now, over the years and through COVID, we actually went online, continued with the training programs, and grew to what is now batch number 12 of AI and machine learning is 150 people that we are training. The training, the center point of the training is what we call a passion project, right? Because one other learning that I've had through my journey is that if you're not passionate about what you do, chances are you won't last for 30 years like I have. You won't gray your beard in the same career as I have, right? And so we decided that when a student comes along, we want them to look around them, create an idea, create a project that they are passionate about that is going to have social impact. So the whole idea here was, if you can kind of identify a problem in your environment, you can start to think about how you can resolve that with technology. You're now getting into a very different plane when you start to learn technology for the sake, not for the sake of learning, but for the sake of solving problems, right? And so that passion project became the center point. We created the curriculum around that and helped students grow. We've built technologies like, putting out IoT devices in reforestation areas in India and abroad, in fact, where we are collecting bird sounds and analyzing bird sounds. Why are we doing that? Well, we want to understand how the ecosystem reacts to reforestation. How are birds coming back to those areas? And what are we teaching the students? We are teaching the students how to do speech recognition. Right? And so they use the same technologies, the deep learning technologies, the architectures that can be used in the industry itself. Another project that we started, and this is going back around 5 years now, was to look at how we can start building natural language processing toolkits for Indian languages. The first one we picked was Punjabi, which didn't have much available as a tool set. And we worked with a partner university to develop that. And who was developing all this? That was the students that we were training, that were working on these projects. Batches would come in, work on these projects, and move out, and then the next batch would take on this and develop it. And these are all now close to good MVPs that can actually be used by people and are available, right, to the population at large. A few years into our program in 2000, we actually met another individual who was very adept at IoT, and he joined our group and started to develop an IoT program along with that. What did that mean? That now we are actually not only gathering data from the environment through IoT devices, but we are layering on top of that AI to solve problems. We've built our own hardware for smart glasses-based applications where people suffering from face blindness can recognize people now because they're actually, through Bluetooth devices, getting information on who's walking towards them. People who are losing their sight are able to use the same device with additional AI models that can read printed matter in front of them and can understand what they're dealing with. I met somebody who was losing their eyesight who said, I've actually fired my driver who couldn't write, and now has somebody who's educated enough to write the checks for them. And he just signs them. And I said, who has he made the check for? How do you know that? And he laughed and said, I don't. Right? Those are the kinds of problems our students are working towards solving. And I'm very, very happy to tell you that these students, once they graduate, are doing amazing things too. One of the students that graduated through the program, we were lucky enough to hire him within our for-profit organization, Tatras. He's actually has led the development of a product that uses EEG data, galvanic skin response data, as well as facial coding to understand the emotional change in individuals that are exposed to some stimuli. And this is being used by some of our customers across the Far East and in fact even in the Middle East and now in South Africa, right? So these are kids that are literally 2 or 3 years out of university from second-tier institutions that are now able to become product engineers using AI and developing that. Other students that have gone on to do further education are able to go, say, to the US, and while they're doing their master's program, because the master's program is so much more accessible to them because of the way we've taught them the AI and machine learning, they're actually on the side, rather than flipping burgers in McDonald's to make a living, are actually teaching AI to people who want to reskill in the US now. Right? And these are the kinds of impacts that we hope that we can bring now that we have the Memorandum of Understanding with STPI to a much larger set of students. And we thank STPI for this opportunity to work with them and deliver these kinds of solutions to people. So thank you very much. And I look forward to the next phase in our journey.
Thank you, sir, for walking us through your journey and for sharing your refreshing perspectives. Considering the increasing prevalence of AI and deep tech, it is important to understand the potential significance that Tier 2 and 3 locations can bring to these fields. With this in mind, we cordially invite Dr. Sunil K. Shekhawat to share his insights and expertise on the significant role that Tier 2 and 3 locations can play in AI and deep tech. Dr. Sunil Shekhawat, CEO and co-founder, Sanchi Connect supports deep tech startups and serves as a technology partner to incubators and accelerators. He previously led deep tech initiatives at NASSCOM. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, and congratulations to STPI on the 33rd Foundation Day. Thank you for having me here. Myself, I'm Dr. Sunil Shekhawat, and it's a privilege to be here. We have been working with STPI on different fronts for quite some time. And while I'll focus on Tier 2 and Tier 3, that's because that's where I hail from. I call myself as a community builder, and I want to share my story of building such communities around deep tech. A couple of years back, while I was moving on from NASSCOM, I moved to a private equity fund, which was kind of switching up their gears from pre-IPO investments to early stage growth capital, Series A and beyond kind of investments. And they said, okay, it might be a good idea to build up a vertical where we have a sense of what's happening to the startups which are actually entering Series A. So we are talking about startups which are just starting up, pre-seed, seed, who just have an idea, MVP, prototype, or some early revenues or customers. And that's where the board thought, okay, let's build up a company which will only work on deep tech. What we will do, nobody has the clue. I was brought in, and we picked up the theme that, okay, we'll first build a very focused community around deep tech, but keeping the founder of the deep tech at the center. So we'll consider that what does a deep tech founder look for, and then we will try to bring in the ecosystem that revolves around him. Started off with 7-8 startup founders who I was in touch with from my previous role, and a bunch of VCs and 2 corporates. I don't want to take the names for now. And one thing was very clear, because these generally community operations are very operationally intensive when you want to really achieve a good engagement. We were very clear, we don't want to build a team of 50 people to drive a community of thousands of founders. So we opted to take the route of technology. So we said, okay, we'll build our own technology to drive everything. And we will look back to our own experience of past, of building community and where all the operational expertise was needed, but we opted to solve it through manual interventions rather than technology. And this time we took that approach. Today, as we speak, we have founders at the center. We have the VCs who invest in those founders. We have corporates who work as buyers to these startups. We have people who are from the industry, very senior folks who mentor these guys. And then people who serve these startups. It could be an IP expert or a lawyer or a CEO or whoever. So these are the constituents of the community, and we are just a gatekeeper there. Now, I want to tell you, in last few years, we have become one of the largest community with 2,200 plus deep tech founders, some 230 odd venture funds investing heavily in deep tech, very much focused on deep tech. 100 plus corporates, similar number of mentors. Almost every day we see hundreds of startups getting on few hundred hours of calls, and with just one person managing the whole show. That's the power of technology. So today, the most interesting part is, when we were building up this community, we thought, of course, when it comes to deep tech, the first name that comes to our mind is Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, Mumbai, Gurgaon. Interestingly, we were doing a study around what's the community looking like. We found 63% of founders and companies are coming from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Only 37% in our community. I'm not saying that this is a representation, the correct representation of the country, but what I am trying to say is, out of a sample size which is highly curated, which is well gated, of the 2,200 founders, and by the way, our criteria for deep tech is we look for companies which are building, either have got an IP already in place, they have a patent, they have a intellectual property, or they are in process of building that. So out of those curated sample of 2,200, almost 63% are based in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And there are multiple more facts when we got deeper into it. What are these people doing in the community? What is going on there? And that has become a good trigger for us. Now, one thing, one more interesting thing which happened around the community was, we never intended to, I call ourselves as an accidental SaaS company. We never intended to become a SaaS company. We just built a technology for our own purpose. And we never wanted to get to that business. But at some point last year, one of the leading incubator of the country came to us. We have already, last 2 decades, we have been in the market. We have supported some 800 companies, and we have a team of 60 people with us. And I laughed at them. Eventually, we ended up working with a lot of incubators. Today, we are partnered with a lot of IITs, NASSCOMs, and CIIs, and T-Hubs of the world. Just to ensure that the operational excellence is achieved using the technology. On top of that, we are building AI. And my key focus remains, can we work with tier 2 and tier 3 founders, city founder, not the founders, base founders. And when we were building our own team, by the way, when we were building our own team of technology, because I myself, I come from an army background. My dad was in army. I've spent whole of my life, at least the first 25 years of my life, in cantonment areas. And most of the cantonment areas which were in tier 2 cities, Ranchi, Guwahati, and all those kind of places. And I've seen the kind of struggle those places when you're, as a student, you have. My whole team of technology, we have 100% participation. We have 100% team which comes from not even tier 2, tier 3, but this is tier 3 people. I mean, the whole technology team that we have people only from tier 3 locations. In last 2.5 years, we have seen 0% attrition in our technology team. I don't want to be judgmental here, but that's the way it is. There is a wave, there is a hunger for growth that we are seeing, and there is a stability that we are seeing coming out of smaller cities. Before I end my conversation, I want to ask the audience a question. Did any of you in the audience had an experience of being in an autonomous vehicle? Did any of you had your autonomous drive in India or outside India? Maybe in US, Tesla experience. Any experience you had? No, I had mine. And you should ask me where. Last year, in a city called Kochi. And the last aspect to it is most interesting. That vehicle was Maruti Alto. That's the power of smaller cities. That's the power of tier 2 and tier 3 cities. A lot of work is happening in silos. I'm glad STPI's Electropreneur Park, these initiatives are bringing they are breaking a lot of isolations which are inherently created across the country. There's an immense depth of work which is already going on. It's just a matter of stitching things together. I had my first, I would say, just keep your eyes open. A lot of work is happening in that, and go and experience that. And with that, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Shekhawat. Your views definitely resonated with the audience, and we are left with some very deep thoughts to ponder upon. And the very organic transition now would be to talk about generative AI. Given the transformational potential of generative AI, we are excited to hear from you, Shri Amit Chatterjee, about its applications and impact. With your expertise in the field, we invite you to join us here and share your insights on how generative AI can revolutionize various domains and industries. Ladies and gentlemen, Shri Amit Chatterjee leads the startup program and strategic initiatives at Intel India, catalyzing the growth of startups, leveraging AI and deep technologies. His role in nurturing innovation and driving strategic partnerships provides a lens into how corporate and startup ecosystems can collaborate to propel brand Bharat onto the global stage. The dais is all yours, sir. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Come on, yaar, afternoon ho gaya. I was just checking whether the tea coffee is still running. So, thank you so much again, STPI, and congratulations on their 33rd Foundation Day. Being part of Bangalore, been around for quite some time, 1994 when the ITPL park was established, it was like one great place to always look up to. Now, an interesting topic that has been given to me to talk about Gen AI, but before I go there, anybody use ChatGPT? No. Have you used it or you are just seen the demo? Oh, fantastic. Fantastic, fantastic. Now coming back to you very quickly. What are the use cases that you have seen to be very imminent to you, for example, from ChatGPT coming out? Excellent. Thank you so much. So now let's think about what is Gen AI. What is Gen AI? I need an interactive session, okay? I don't want to come here and then give you something of a monologue. Don't get me wrong. Please. Yes, that's a definition, but what does it mean to you? Content writing, like what he said, right? Content writing, great. What else? Is that the only thing that you are thinking about? Again, it's content in a different format. Text, video, image, whatever that can be, right? What else? No? Not yet? Well, that's the use case that we are aware of it today, right? That is today. What we are utilizing Gen AI for. But the things that are going to come forward, which is what you should be looking forward to, are the next generation of ideas or next generation of products that are going to be associated with that. Medical segment, education segment, healthcare segment, medical discovery. I'm talking about drug discovery. So this is something that I just want to talk about from a very simple learning point of view. Earlier in Jan sometime, there was a session that we held up at Intel India. We said we'll call it as a AI Day, and we called upon startups, different startups, all from various areas. I have a slight affinity towards supply chain and manufacturing because that's where a lot of my experience comes from. But we asked for around 120 odd startups to apply for. In fact, dear friend Sunil, a lot of startups from his side also came in and applied. Do you know how many applied for medical domain to supply chain and manufacturing domain to, let's say, edutech domain? These were the 3 top segments that were there. There were a few fringe, but let me not talk about it. So out of, let's say, 100% or 120 applications, where do you think would be the maximum number of entries that would have come? Industry 4.0, supply chain, drug discovery, healthcare. 75 of them. So 75% of the, or let's say 75 out of the 120 applicants were from drug discovery and healthcare. And Gen AI is going to be phenomenal use case for them because they cannot generate failure. You have to understand this particular part. Can I discover a slide with a particular cancer? Can I? Like, do I have to wait for the patient to come in, right? I have to wait for that particular sample to be made available to me for me to do a diagnosis. Gen AI helps me create the new data set to be able to do that diagnosis and train myself better when the actual one also comes in. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that just go ahead and do with it, right? There will be an actual sample that's going to come in, but you are ready for the actual sample. You're not starting new because any training, and training is the most difficult part of anybody's AI journey. Even though people talk about running AI and all of that. And this is something that I also want to talk about, and I think a lot of people did mention product and services, right? How many fundamental AI models come out of India? To you also, sir? Anybody? 0. None. That's a fact of life today. Are we not capable? As a country, with so many engineers, with so many technocrats, with so many entrepreneurs, are we not capable to develop AI models of our own? Do we not have data sets of our own? We have. I believe we are the most data set generator in the world. Whether it is health data, whether it is media data, utilization data, we are all data generators. It's that either an Apple or a Google has profiled us. It doesn't matter. But anyway, that's how it is. Right? So coming back to the point, what I want to talk, so Gen AI is just a topic for you to think about, but you need to come back and think that, okay, as a Indian, what am I creating a value? Am I a jugaad integrator or am I a frugal innovator? Is there a difference between the two? See, I'm not downplaying the word jugaad, don't get me wrong. That's a very good thing that we have done. Frugal integration or jugaad integration has been a pillar of us. Things were not available to us as a country. Many things. I'm sure you have seen a lot of movies and a lot of people can also relate to that. Not many things were available to us. I remember when I was doing my engineering last century, getting a Sun Microsystems just to do a little bit of AI ML operations in that was a big task. So many approvals needed, right? You may have money also. You pay double also, doesn't matter. But things have changed. We have access to technology. We have access to inherent data sets. We have access to the talent pool which is available in the country thanks to all the mentorships that all the corporates are providing, including Intel for that matter. We have around 75 odd startups that we work with. So the point that I'm trying to make is when you are thinking about Gen AI or for that matter any technology, think about what is it that you are trying to offer. Is it a product or is it something that you are just integrating? If you're integrating, great. Continue with it. That's not a problem. But think, are there any products or essential technologies that you can contribute back? Right? So having said that, the places where I use Gen AI very quickly, Note takers, anybody have done note taking? Only one hand is raising. That's a pretty decent way for Gen AI. Okay? So you can start Gen AI with simple note takers. You can add them as part of your meeting. And when the meeting is concluded, you will get a very nice summary. Will you put your badge to send that same report as is to your CEO? Not yet. The answer is not yet. It will happen, eventually it will, like the way morning speakers talked about, right? Vishal talked about that, how the accuracy has been moving and moving. It will also move, right? I would be really surprised to get that infamous Indian nod head to say which one is yes and which one is no. If the AI system can decode that, I will hats off to it. But anyway, coming back to it, Gen AI is definitely the future, and we are at the right cusp of it with our key talent pool that we have in the country, with entrepreneurs, with students, with all the different people that are supporting it. Let's just focus and have some good products and key IPs brought out of the country. That's the only ask that I have at the end of the day. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for augmenting and generating our interest in generative AI. In the quest to decoding the intricacies around establishing an Indian sovereign cloud and AI ecosystem using GPUs, we are honored to have Sri Sunil Gupta with us. We invite him to join us on the dais to share his perspectives on this very pertinent topic. Sri Sunil Gupta stands at the forefront of India's digital infrastructure expansion as the co-founder, MD, and CEO of YOTA. Under his leadership, YOTA has emerged as a key player in providing cutting-edge data center solutions, pivotal for the AI and deep tech ecosystems to thrive. The podium is all yours, sir.
Good afternoon. Namaskar. First of all, hearty congratulations to STPI, Arun Kumar ji, Tyagi ji, for your 33rd Foundation Day. Really honored to be on this platform to speak before this audience. I would just like to quote and start with something which Secretary Krishnan ji spoke in the morning. He gave the example of an iPhone is his phone, and he says this iPhone, which must be costing around $1,000, now it has started getting manufactured in India, and we all feel very happy and proud about it. So that is one positive part of that. But the other part of that is, out of the $1,000 which is getting as an output, only $200 is the value add which is happening in India by way of processes, labor, and everything what we do in India, integration part. But 800 part is the IP which is going out of Indian shores. That is a foreign exchange lost. That is a taxes lost to India. Now, if we apply the same thing to the overall topic, how do we actually make India a tech product nation? How do we actually use our capability as a ITeS, garage of the world to serve these technologies, create these technologies in India and serve Indian use cases as well as the use cases of the world, creating the products. Let me use the idea of two products here, which we most of the time don't talk. When we talk product, most of the time we talk software. I am talking about the product called Sovereign Cloud. I'm talking about the product called AI Platform. Let's take Sovereign Cloud. Today, if you are using cloud, which cloud you are using? You are using AWS, you are using Azure, you are using Google. None of these are Indian clouds. 2009, cloud came into our lives as a word. Because of the implicit benefits of cloud, enterprises, consumers, everybody adopted cloud. You know, all the concerns about security, safety gradually started fading away, and people started using cloud in a big way. I come from data center industry. I have been there for 25, 30 years now, and we all had a golden opportunity at that time to upgrade ourselves as data center operators to become cloud operators, to create a very great world-class cloud product with a great self-service user experience and great bouquet of services to serve Indian market or serve world market. None of us did that. We were very happy in doing our co-location services. None of us created a great space. So what happened, we actually took a couple of servers, we put some VMware or some software on the top of that. started pushing that as cloud service. So by the time 2015 came, when the hyperscalers came to India, our shops shut. Within 3 months, the complete cloud business of India was taken over by foreign cloud operators, and none of the Indian operators, even while we push it ourselves as cloud operators, we actually are not cloud operators, we are data center managed hosting operators. What is the result? Out of the total value chain of cloud, the Indian data center operators today, India as a country, is actually serving power and cooling and space to the cloud operator, but the real value chain, which is cloud services, which you and me are consuming to run our application services, that IP and that revenue is actually going to foreign cloud operators and not Indian cloud operators. Quoting Amit ji when he was talking about, we have talent, we are the garage, technology garage of the whole world for last 3 decades. Are we not capable to create our own cloud? For India and for the world? We are, but we are very happy creating services. We are happy selling our manpower for creating the products of somebody else who is not from India. We are not creating products in India. So the first point I'm raising in this forum is India needs to create its own sovereign cloud. We are all talking about data localization. Yes, the Indian data, citizen data, need to be hosted in the shores of India. Of course, the cloud operators also are running their cloud now from India. They are running in data centers in Mumbai, Hyderabad, and Chennai. But that is data being local. But where is the machine which actually runs this data? That machine is cloud. Who owns that cloud? Who has got the ownership and control of that data? It is not you and me as Indians. It is foreign cloud operators. So tomorrow, as you all must have heard of a cloud act, where in the case of emergency, a government of US can actually demand these cloud operators to give access to the data hosted anywhere in the world. That risk always lies. Government of India, all of us are aware about this risk, but we are basically still, because cloud is giving so much of benefit and these cloud operators are giving such great services, let's give it to them. We all are using it because of the sheer economical benefits which these clouds are giving. What India needs to do is create a as good cloud, as much quality, as much features, more cost effective cloud of our own, so that our data not only resides in India, but the complete control over this data of this machinery called cloud is also in the hands of Indians. And that is what is one of the initiatives which we as IOTA had taken. For the last 2 years, we are building our own complete homegrown open source based cloud. This is a product which is ready. We will be launching it in next couple of weeks. And by the way, for the same product, we have actually tied up with STPI. Arvind Kumar ji talked about it, that we will be launching it along with STPI as Ananta Cloud. Part 1. Let's talk about part 2, AI platform. If we talk about India's growth as a digital journey, as a digital consumers, we talk about 1 billion of us, maybe more, having mobile phones with data enabled. I think 700 millions of them, 70 crore, are smartphones, which means all of us, even in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities and villages, are consuming and creating content every moment, right? Possibly there is no other country in the world which may be as digitally enabled as we are. Even a 10 rupees to a rickshaw wala and a vegetable wala, we know that they don't accept cash anymore. Chillar nahi hai, right? They would rather want you to pay through a phone pay or a Paytm, right? Enterprise cloud adoption, content creation, everything, even on ChatGPT, I'm told the maximum number of consumers in the world today are Indians, just like we are on Facebook or on any other platform. We are a country, and I think I'll just again correlate to what Amit ji was talking about. We are a country which has got a history of 5,000 years. We have got 1.4 billion people. So no other country can have data sets of a higher order than what India is, right? We also have talent. What I'm told is India is second in the world in terms of skill index on AI skill sets. There are hundreds of startups who are working on AI. But when he said, is there a large language model, foundational model, which has come out of India so far? No, right? Why? He talked about skill sets. He talked about data sets. India has that. What India does not have is the underlying compute. And that is what Mr. Vishal Dupar from NVIDIA also was talking about in the morning. If you have to create very, very large language models of AI, like a chat GPT, there are attempts, for example, by IIT Mumbai, a couple of IITs together are now trying to build Bharat GPT. There are 3 or 4 startups in India who are actually creating, and you must have heard of those names, whether it's Hanuman or whether it's Krutrim, and there are like a couple of great initiatives which are coming in. And these startups have actually gone on record in telling that simply the narrative of India is not a country for making foundational model. You should not focus on that. India should just put their local data into chat GPT using some APIs and create a small model, fine-tuned model for yourself. That is the wrong narrative. If you have to create foundational models which are built on Indian data, Indian language, Indian culture, and in 100+ languages, there is no way you can actually train a chat GPT and make an India equivalent model. You will have to make a LLM from scratch. And that is where the great part is. While the model is yet to emerge, there are at least 3 or 4 initiatives in India, both by well-funded startups as well as from IITs, who are working towards creating, and Bhashini, by the way, is a good example, who actually are putting quite a lot of AI services already in their direction. It's completely ground up. So coming back, if we have the best skill sets, if we have the best startups, and we have all that ecosystem to develop our own models for India, the thing which is needed is thousands and thousands of GPUs. Because if you have to put so much of data, like whole of internet has to be put into a machine, and the machine has to be trained in a couple of days, you need thousands of GPUs. And these are the most advanced GPUs. These GPUs need to be connected through a high-speed network called InfiniBand. This is the infrastructure, again, which we as IOTA have brought into India. We are booting in India 16,000 NVIDIA H100 GPUs. 4,000 of them have already been implemented and commissioned. We are actually launching them in 2 weeks from now. And you will see now that if I am giving these GPUs, which otherwise would have costed millions of dollars and cannot be afforded even by the well-funded organization, if the same GPUs become available to any even startup at, let's say, few dollars per hour, suddenly that entire latest technology to build large language models, AI models, whether it is large language models, small models for individual vertical specific models, suddenly it comes in the hands of enterprises and startups and consumers. And that is the revolution which I think we are bringing in. Just to quote one instance, Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, he had visited India in August 23. ChatGPT was launched, and the whole narrative in government of India also changed that we need to have, some number came, 25,000 GPUs in India. If we had to revive and if we had to create AI, India has left behind in AI. If India has to become very big in AI, we need 25,000 GPUs in India. On that background, Prime Minister met Jensen, and Prime Minister asked him 2 questions. One is, Indian data going outside, training somebody's model, and that model again coming back and being sold in India, right? While this was not quoted by PM, but this is something to me is East India Company model. The raw cotton from India goes outside, gets manufactured into a cloth outside, and that cloth again, India becomes a market for that cloth again. So why Indian data cannot be used to create India's model for solving India's issues? And second, if India is for 3 decades a IT software services factory for the whole world, we own 11% of the world IT exports, why India cannot do the same for AI? And that is where again the need came. If we have to trigger this whole market, the skill sets are there, data sets are there, the intent is there, the capability is there. What we need is this AI compute platform. That is the second initiative which we as IOTA have done. We own large data centers, we don't have problem of space and power. What we needed was GPU and the entire capability. NVIDIA is actually empowering us, working very, very hand in hand with us to launch this product, what we call as Shakti Cloud. And a combination of these 2 clouds, which I just mentioned, the CPU sovereign cloud and this GPU cloud, Shakti Cloud, we are putting both of these capabilities together into what we are working now with STPI as a part of Ananta Cloud. So in the times to come, I am looking forward to, along with all of you as Indians, that we will make a big revolution in India by coming out with India's own sovereign cloud and India's own AI compute platform, on the top of which the real digital dreams of India, what we all expect, what we all deserve, will be a thing which will be a reality, and it will not just be a dream. Thank you very much.
sir, for touching all facets from valleys to peaks on the subject. We've had the privilege of hearing from esteemed speakers and engaging in an insightful discussion. It is my privilege to invite Shri Krishan Kumar Singh, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, to the podium to share his wisdom and deliver the concluding remarks. Shri Krishna Kumar Singh is engaged in promoting an ecosystem for startups, innovation, IPR and entrepreneurship. He is also actively involved in accelerating the digital economy in the country. We look forward to the pearls of wisdom you are about to share with us, sir.
Namaskar and very good afternoon to all of you from STPI families. Most of them, I think, from STPIs and associate organizations. So first of all, I think we are a bit late. My friend Sushil Paul is waiting already. So I will take few minutes here. I would just like to, first of all, share that I am honored here to share the dais with such eminent personalities. And also today is a 33rd Foundation Day for STPI. So definitely it's a matter of pride for me being associated with the STPI, that in a very, I think whatever the mandate was given to the STPI during the early 90s, when there was a economic liberalization, and definitely it was there to promote the software industry, and I hope that that mandate was well completed by STPI. And apart from that, not only the mission of software promotion, I think it was around 17 CRs at that time in 1991, and currently we are more than 9 lakh crores, many folds. So this is what about the STPI. And STPI, other than this, they are in the mission mode in, promoting a kind of a culture ecosystem wherein nurturing the startups, technology, and even the development of the regional areas. You see that startup is, this STPIs, we have around 67, I think it's a 67 right now, 67 centers we are having in Pan-India, and around 80-90% are in tier 2, tier 3 cities. So what my dear friend Shekhawat suggested, that we are able to at least harness the skills level in those tier 2, tier 3 cities. Apart from that, I think I will take this opportunity to say a few words for STPI being associated with the organization, because my friends already expert in technology, they have already told a lot about the technology. So here I would like to tell that around 24 COEs, Center for Excellence, apart from that few entrepreneurs parks has been created, initiated and being carried out by STPIs so that to meet the requirement of government's vision and mission. And apart from that, we have, as a government, we have to reach to the Pan-India to promote our vision and mission. So kind of bridging the gap between the state governments and regions. STPI is the only, you can say, special purpose vehicle available with us, those who are enabling us to deliver and achieve the government's mission. Today is also a World Environment Day. So I would like to share with my experts sitting with the dais that yes, whatever we are doing to promote the IT industries, apart from that, we should have a social responsibility to have a kind of approach to have a reduction in carbon emissions and definitely e-waste. So whatever we are planning from the government perspective, from as a human being, we have to preserve the climate. So I think we e-waste, and with the requirement of computing higher power requirement, that technological aspect has to be kept in mind so that we can at least align with the requirement of climate changes, whatever the guidelines and manifesto has been issued. So this is one of the aspects. And as this topic is regarding branding India and progress of IT and ITeS. So we should know where we stand. I think my friend has already, our secretary sir definitely might have discussed that currently we are around 250 billion US dollar. And as from the government's perspective, we need to enhance in the next 5 to 6 years around, just double it, 500 billion US dollar. So I think without the participation of industry or our experts, so we are only a facilitator, and we are definitely in the same line, we are reforming our policy. So any inputs, any suggestion to enhance the progress of ITES sector, and I hope the target for 500 billion US dollar will not be a challenge for us when industry and all are working together and in collaboration with that. So I will not take much time. Again, I wish to STPI 33rd day on this foundation day, and I hope STPI will be always collaborate with the industry and the government and work as a bridge to achieve the mission and goal of India. Thank you so much.
Many thanks for providing us a roadmap to look forward to and for your invaluable contributions, sir. We now open the floor for questions. If anybody has any question in mind to ask from our panel. So in case we don't have any questions, which is a testimony maybe to the fact that our panelists were crystal clear in sharing their insights with us, I request Shri Krishnan Kumar Singh ji to felicitate our panelists present here. Thank you for that, sir. If you could please felicitate the panelists. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Many thanks for doing the honors, sir. I now request Shri Amit Bansal ji from STPI to felicitate Shri Krishna Kumar Singh. Thank you for doing the honors, sir. If we could now capture the moment with a group picture, please. Once again, thank you to our panel for this very enriching discussion and highlighting how AI can be the only employee that can work all the time without complaining about overtime. It is time to get started with our next session, Brand Bharat, Accelerating Design and Development of Electronic Products in India. This session aims to dive deep into the transformative strides India is making in the field of electronics, highlighting the innovative efforts and strategic directions that are setting the stage for India to emerge as a global hub for electronics design and manufacturing. We have a very interesting and dynamic panel to steer this discussion. To get this started, I take the honor to invite Shri Sushi Palji, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, to join us on stage to chair the session. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I also extend a warm invitation to our distinguished panelists to join us on stage. Shri Vijay Yadav, CEO, United Telecoms Limited. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Shri Sanjeev Keskar, CEO, Arvind Consultancy. Colonel Anurag Avasthi, Vice President, IESA. And Ms. Meenakshi Vashisht, Founder and CEO, Tech Uncogged. Welcome, ma'am. As we witness the rapid growth of the electronics industry, it is imperative to recognize the significant contribution of startups and MSMEs in driving the development and production of world-class electronic products. In light of that, we would now take the opportunity to hear from Ms. Meenakshi Vashisht about the challenges that these entities may face in their journey and any suggestions for overcoming them. Ms. Meenakshi Vashisht, founder and CEO, Tech Uncogged, has over 30 years of experience in organizations like ISRO, CDOT, Motorola, Freescale Semiconductor, and she is now focused on building Tech Uncogged. The company aims to make electricity distribution grids smart, predictive, reliable, and ready for the net zero transition. Having just spoken about going environment friendly, just the perfect timing on the World Environment Day to have you join us on podium, ma'am, to share your perspectives. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. So, brand Bharat की बात कर रहे हैं, brand भारत की language में बात करेंगे. Thank you. So, सुबह से काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग, वेरी फील गुड चीज़ें सुन रहे हैं. बहुत ज़बरदस्त काम हमने कर डाला. रियलिटी है कि it's not time to pat our backs. There are certain ground realities and we are saying हमने सॉफ्टवेयर में बहुत झंडे गाड़े. Indeed we have. We should clap for that. And product पे फोकस करने का टाइम है. So I go back to the last century. I think मैंने 1988 में अपना बैचलर्स किया था और एक विजन दिया गया था कंट्री वाइड, हर घर में टेलीफोन. एक विजन दिया गया था. प्री स्टार्टअप एरा था, प्री इंटरनेट एरा था, कोई फोन्स नहीं थे. There were these startup which was set up CDOT and उस टाइम की स्टार्टअप थी और as almost as a fresher वहाँ पे join किया था. And that was a company which had a good mix of very experienced guys from telecom and a bunch of freshers. I was one of them who worked very closely to build rural exchanges, to build telecom transmission equipment. And I think they, it started this whole revolution on telecom. Multi-billion-dollar industry है telecom India में. So I think where things slip through the cracks is kahin pe focus nikal gaya on that product. All we need to do is get that focus back. Not to the level where we were in 80s, 100 times, 1,000 times wo focus chahiye. And that is what I think there are a lot of decision makers in this room. And I would request these decision makers to help us make that impact. So let's talk about the first thing. Krishnan ji ne morning mein bola tha, industry ye bol rahi hai कि सर्विसेज करना बड़ा आसान है 20% 22% हमें मार्जिन्स मिल जाते हैं प्रोडक्ट का समझ नहीं आता क्या प्रोडक्ट बनाएं सो 1.5 बिलियन से ऊपर की पॉपुलेशन है 3 मिलियन स्क्वायर किलोमीटर से ज़्यादा का एरिया है हर 100 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर जाओ एक नई प्रॉब्लम आ जाएगी आपके सामने आई वॉज वर्किंग विद फ्री स्केल सेमीकंडक्टर दिमाग में कीड़ा घुस गया कि यहाँ पे इंडिया में वी हैव टू स्टार्ट समथिंग ऑन द प्रोडक्ट्स एंड you know, I started my company Tech and Cog. Before I did that, I went around India. Took 1 साल का छुट्टी लिया. My company said, come back, you know, when you are done. I never went back. I decided to start my own company because इतनी सारे opportunities, इतने सारे, I traveled across India, 20,000 kilometers traveled, met people from the rural areas, from suburban areas, from the cities, the change makers, and there are tons of problems. All we need to do is product के लिए idea चाहिए. Let's look at a problem which exists in the community. Solve it through a product. Not a jugaad. I think Amit talked about that jugaad. कि 4 modules उठा के ले आए, जोड़ दिया, पेज कर दिया, made in India. No, it is not made in India. Is it designed in India or not? So are we the owners of that design? Are we the guys who are manufacturing it? Are we the guys who are deploying it? You know, I was talking to somebody in the break and said, product वो जो roadside पे बुद्धा अपना सिर हिलाता है ना, उसको हम बड़ा खुश हो जाते हैं बना के कि ये product बना लिया. No, which of the products are the ones which are scalable? It is not only made for India, it is made for the world. The world should be adopting those products. Sunil made a very interesting comment कि मैं एक ऐसी कार में बैठा हूँ जो कि autonomous है वो इंडिया में थी. Why is it not running on the roads? Where is the scalability? And those are the challenges which we need to solve. Solve कैसे होंगे? Startup mindset कि 20 साल का एक लड़का जो कॉलेज से निकल रहा है वो ही स्टार्टअप रन करेगा. Let's change that. 20 साल, yes, they should be running it. We need accelerators for that. We do need उनको बोलना सिखाना है कैसे business plan बनाओ, कैसे बोलो, कैसे present करो, what is IPR. But then, if we really want to scale up the entire deep tech and AI ecosystem, the startup definition has to change for India. इस world में जितना भी software products बन रहे हैं, जितने भी सेमीकंडक्टर्स बन रहे हैं, जो कि किसी एप्पल फ़ोन का एग्जाम्पल दिया था, एक एप्पल फ़ोन में जा रहे हैं या जो किसी ऑटोमोटिव में जा रहे हैं, मिनिमम 5 से 10 इंडियंस हैं who were the brains behind it. They were the architects, they were the guys who were executing it, they were the guys who were running those projects worldwide. I've done that for BMW 7 Series, के ICs जो चलते हैं, you know, I was driving that, some of the early cell phones, the Power PC, architected, designed that. So what is preventing those people to come in, set up those startups to drive really hardcore products for India and the world? The policies, we need support. We need that right accelerators who say कि ये पॉलिसी फ्रेमवर्क में कैसे एंट्रेंच किया जाए डीपली, उस सेक्टर को कैसे नेविगेट किया जाए so that you can really scale up that solution. Where is the capital access? We do not need VCs who sit on the fence saying deep tech, deep tech. Why? Things which are designed in India, where there would be a risk, are you ready to take those risks? And I think that's where we are looking for the state, for the government, to release those policies to, encourage those kind of initiatives. Now, let's, I had made some notes. So let's talk about the infrastructure. Rural manufacturing hubs chahiye. Why are we trying to send a lot of our stuff to some other countries to manufacture? हर गांव में एक हब होना चाहिए छोटा सा with the right set of tool sets, basic PCB assembly, PCB testing, product integration, and let's see the scale. The moment we start doing it, we start doing manufacturing at a very, very low cost. We become much more competitive than anywhere, across the world, or we might be one of those guys who can be standing beside some of the countries in the world who say कि सबसे ज़्यादा competitive हम manufacturing offer कर रहे हैं. Let us be one of those. So we need that. The third thing is design. Okay, how are we going to encourage that mindset of designing in India? We have to catch them young. School से शुरू होना है. वो जो मार्केट में बिकते हैं ना 500 2000 रुपए के projects. Can we cut that crap out and cut that culture out? In the school level itself, we have to encourage that, making very, very small toys. Okay, at the school curriculum level, at the engineering level, as well as, this is where some of the Indian accelerators and incubators can help. The youngsters from the schools and from the colleges, how do we teach them to build them, those small products, which are just एक छोटी सी emergency light बना दी, solar battery charger बना दिया. The moment you start doing it, and then there are hundreds and thousands of teams across the country who are doing that, that capability and the skill matrix will start improving. And then some of the serious companies and the startups can actually, hire from those guys and really accelerate the pace. So rural manufacturing hubs, lot of labs, lot of testing facilities on deep tech startup, which is sitting at a cusp of cloud and AI and hardware and semiconductors. And we always, struggle. ये वाला testing करना है, अब ये वाला कहाँ से आएगा, test and measurement equipment. If there were, in every city at least one lab which was available more as a facility, it is a testing as a service. It can be used as a facility. Just go utilize some of the arts and get the things tested. I think it can take things to the next level. So yes, I think that is what we require, and that's the support we need. Thank you so much. I think that's where I would close it.
Thank you, ma'am, for walking us through the journey of Tech Uncorked. As we are all aware, nearly 70% of India's population resides in tier 2 or 3 towns and cities. With such a significant demographic presence, the potential for growth and development in these areas is immense. Against this backdrop, we take the opportunity to invite Colonel Anurag Awasthi to share his valuable insights on the contribution that the industry can make in harnessing the opportunities in tier 2-3 towns and cities, and how the government, particularly STPI, can assist in furthering this cause. Colonel Anurag Awasthi, we eagerly await your thoughts on this matter and invite you to the podium. Colonel Awasthi is serving as the Vice President of the Indian Electronics and Semiconductor Association and brings with him a unique blend of leadership and strategic planning from his military background to the electronics sector. His efforts in promoting India's semiconductor and electronic industry ecosystem have been commendable. Looking forward to your thoughts, sir.
Joint Secretary Sushil Palsa, DG STPI, all members of the software Technology Parks of India. I wish you very well on your 33rd Foundation Day. I think STPI has done some great work in the last 33 years, which is laudable by all, at least in the industry, then I can tell you with a lot of aplomb. Now, having said that, I will just make some very, very clear 5 minutes or 6 minutes points, and I will not exceed my time. I will remain to being time on target, as is call it, in the whole system. But I will first start with the lady who just, introduced me and a lot of other speakers who've been speaking about tier 2 and tier 3 cities. We are creating a problem in our mind where it exists nothing at all. What is a tier 2 and a tier 3 city? Why are you segmenting cities? When multiple, corporates or behemoths like Tatas, they moved to Jamshedpur and made it Steel City. Did they look at it as a tier 2, tier 3, tier 4? Was Jamnagar by Reliance looked at as tier 2, tier 3, tier 4? We all come from our different cities and backgrounds. So my submission to all of you is please do not segment them. There are no tier 2s and tier 3s. We are all cities, and I think we should be very, very clear about that. Now, having said that, we are all talking about a product-centric nation and why a product centricity is very, very important. Now, product centricity is also very, very directly proportional to customer centricity. We should not lose track of that at the end of the day. Now, when you're making a product, since I come from the semiconductor sector, now a product has to have three things. It has to be functional, it has to be durable, and it has to be repairable. If these three things or this troika is not complete, then it is not a product. So possibly that has to be essentially taken in mind. Now, having said that, after a deep dive into understanding as to why we need to get into a product nation and why exactly have we left out, because there are historical reasons that we did not see the Industrial Revolution, this, that, and the other. I will not go into too many historical details. In the world, there are three silos. There are three silos of understanding. There's a first silo, which looks at creating a product, visualizing a product, and seeing its relevance 5, 7, 10, 15, 20 years. Then there is a silo which looks at manufacturing that product. And there is a third silo which looks at designing that product. In the matter of precedence, the first one has the best set of skill. Manufacturing has the second set, and the design has the third set. I'm not scoffing over the skill sets that this is 1, 2, 3 or something like that. But at the end of the day, we need to put in a lot of effort in that first silo in this country. That is very important. Now, coming down to that, we come down to the education part for creating a product. Now, you look at the Indian education system, which is now greatly going to be influenced by the national education policy, which will take a little time because it has a cultural mindset. You can produce Sundar Pichais and you can produce Satya Nadellas and everybody else. What is holding you back that you cannot produce Larry Pages and Bill Gates? Now, that is a system which somebody has to understand. The manager versus entrepreneur. That two parts are very, very important for all of us to understand if we need to become a product nation. Second of all, it's very easy to say, we will do this and we need to create a product and there is geographical limit and this, that, and the other. Are our structures catered for product centricity? Well, we have to really look at it very carefully because product-centric organizations are also as important to looking at creating a product. They have to be responsive, they have to be flexible, they have to be flat, less hierarchical, more innovative, all of that. So that possibly needs to be seen. Startups, a lot of people spoke about startups before me. I think I must put it on record insofar as Electropreneur Park Delhi and Electropreneur Park Bhubaneswar is concerned. I think STPI has done a fabulous job. I've been associated with STPI doing all of that, privileged to do so. And I think there's some cutting edge work done in terms of startups. The problem is that we have to understand today that today's startup is tomorrow's MSMEs and tomorrow's MSMEs day after tomorrow's corporation. That is where you fall flat. Another problem, which again is very cultural, is that why are these startups, why are there so many unicorns in some other countries today? Whether it is hardware, software, IT, ITeS, I'm not even talking about that. Because they deal with themselves and they think like empires. You have to think like empires. You can't think small. If you can't think big, then you will not make it. In addition to this, there is a very, very strange distinction when we work, since STPI is the bridge between academia and industry, between the industry and the government. The system is that the government has limited expertise but has the economy of scales, whereas the industry has great expertise but no economy of scales. So the whole idea is to make this marriage happen. So how we do it, we need to do that. Now, as far as industry is concerned, there is a very, very important tool from the industry, which I keep telling a lot of industry people, that you have CSR. Please deploy CSR into this building of skills and building of infrastructure in various smaller cities all over the country. The second thing is you require a large amount of city programs. Big corporates, big industries, nothing stops you for putting small satellite offices in these smaller cities. If nothing else, it will give you awareness, it will give more employment, it will kickstart the ecosystem in smaller cities. Now, the role of the government, last but not the least, has to be threefold as per me, which I think is, the Joint Secretary is here. You have to really see the enabling policies of the Government of India in the last 2.5 years, each one of them, and very, very communicative and very, very collaborative, and a wonderful set of decision-making policies. Now, the role of the government has to only look at three things: collaborate, incentivize, and recognize. That's it. Now, having said that, these three things are beautifully done by STPI with its so many of Center of Excellences, 63, sir? 63 all over India. And also, more importantly, understanding the industry's availability, industry's problems and expertise. Last but not the least, I always believe in the old African proverb, since I come from the military, which says very clearly, till a lion learns to write, every story will glorify the hunter. Thank you very much.
Many thanks, sir, for that refreshing and very pertinent perspective of yours and for enlightening us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to visualize a scenario. Imagine a talented entrepreneur with a groundbreaking idea, ready to launch their startup or MSME. However, they soon encounter barriers such as limited access to essential tools, inadequate funds, and a lack of skilling and training opportunities. Now, in light of these challenges, we eagerly request Mr. Vijay Yadav's insights on these barriers and his suggestions for overcoming them, as we warmly invite him to the podium. Our distinguished speaker, Shri Vijay Yadav, serves as the CEO of United Telecoms Limited, a company at the forefront of telecommunications solutions in India. He brings with him over 3 decades of experience in IT, telecom, and energy sustainability. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts, sir.
Very good afternoon, everyone. Congratulations to STPI on their 33rd Foundation Day. Now, before I start, very obviously I have a bit of a challenge because everybody has spoken great things about, the solutions, the ecosystem, the good things we are doing, and towards the end of it, I am being asked to do, boss, problem kya hai? That's what I am being asked to describe. So, let's see, I'll try to address it from a practical perspective and from a market perspective. Sticking to the topic about design development in India. We've heard about, a great ecosystem that the government has enabled, and I think I tend to agree with that. But in terms of challenges, one also has to look at the practical implementation of it. I share an example from telecom industry itself because I have large experience out there. I'll give you a simple example. You are aware that there are as per policy, there are certain, I would call market incentive or market promotion that is granted to MSE, and separately a similar kind of incentive granted to a class 1 or class 2 supplier. Class 1, class 2 supplier, for those who don't know, a class 2 supplier is 20% local Indian content and a class 1 is 50% local content. So here's the funny part, we actually see RFPs, and the learning from this would be that customers and buyers, that's the sort of challenge that the market faces. They find ways around the policy regulations. So the example here is MSC definition, not MSME. MSC definition is that after 50 crore, you move from above a small scale to a medium scale. That's the definition. So a customer requirement or RFP reads that MSC has the benefits, but the turnover has to be 50 crore. Which means they are within the definition of a MSc, but you are saying you have to be at the top end of it, you should be about to get out of the MSc scale. So those are the sort of barriers which a customer could create. Another example could be that a class 1, class 2 benefit is provided, but then it goes on to say, oh, it is provided only to MSc. So the first point I would like to make is that, customers also should look at it from a perspective of import substitution that an Indian organization would be doing for design and development. Additionally, this idea has been stated in different words. The way I would like to articulate it is that we should look at it not only from a perspective of Indian market, exports should be a focus area as well. We should look at the global and international market. That would help address challenges about scale, because scale is one of the challenges that organizations do face. One important part which at times tends to get ignored, and I think Colonel Awasthi put it succinctly in the last line when he said that till a lion learns to ride, it will always be the hunter who would get glorified. What it translates to in terms of product and design is a very important aspect that our country would have to look at, and out here organizations like STPI, government, they can play a very important role, is defining the standards globally. Majority of the standards in today's date are still driven by international bodies, so-called international, but controlled by 3 or 4 countries in the world. India has to get on as a representative on those bodies. Our initial target should be that at least 10% of the standards should be driven by the Indian experts on those bodies. Gradually, we have to move up to 20%, because only when we get to define the standards, only when we get to write the story from the very beginning, inception stage of the product, that is when we'll be able to make products which are already designed for the global market. Otherwise, we believe we are designing it for a global market, but because the standard and the rules have been set by somebody else, we are playing according to somebody else's rules. We will need to participate in defining those rules as well, so that we do not face the challenge when we go out to international markets. Very obviously, this is at the high level in terms of the design and development aspect of it. The other aspects of it, which is, a skilled manpower, education, training, enough has been spoken about that ecosystem. Both the government and bodies like STPI are working very well on creating that ecosystem. So I really won't describe that much of a challenge, but yes, it's very much a factor, and that factor is very well being addressed already. There isn't much to add there. What is important to look at is that in terms of design, rather than look at just design from a product perspective, and what I spoke about earlier, that product not only for Indian market but the global market. What I spoke about earlier, that to make it reach the global market, the standards also have to be defined by us, or at least part of the standards have to be defined by us. Apart from that, one key takeaway point, the second key takeaway point is that if we really want to be competitive from the design aspect, then second thing that we will have to look at is start offering design as a service. That's the level of excellence that we have to reach. Very obviously, the skill set is there, the ecosystem is being enabled. Indian customers initially will have to be supportive. But once we've learned to design those products which turn out well in the global market, then should we be looking at offering design as a service? Because anything which addresses the Indian market, considering the diversity and the different scenario use of it, layered on with the jugaad that has been spoken about earlier, in a positive manner, very obviously that design and thought process would be robust enough for the global market, more so when part of the standards are driven by us. So we should look at a definitely aspect of design as a service also, in terms of addressing the challenge of being globally competitive, because then you are addressing it as a market not only for the products that you support, but purely as a service, and there's definitely a requirement for that. So I would like to summarize this, that in terms of addressing the challenge, the two key aspects that we have to look at is, first, look at being on the bodies that drive standards for global market, and second, start offering design as a service as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing a very pragmatic approach towards the problem resolution, sir. Now that we have spoken about barriers to entry, picture this. A company has successfully developed a groundbreaking product ready to hit the market. However, they soon find themselves facing unforeseen challenges in the component supply chain, making it difficult to source the necessary parts for production. Furthermore, when it comes to introducing new products, they encounter hurdles in devising an effective go-to-market strategy. In the midst of these challenges, the question arises, what can the government of India, particularly STPI, what role can they play in facilitating their journey to success? To help us get our answers, we invite to the podium Shri Sanjeev Keskar, CEO, Arvind Consultancy. He has 35 years of experience in the semiconductor industry to his credit, and is also a part of the Executive Council of the India Electronics and Semiconductor Association. He is known for his experience in developing the semiconductor and electronic ecosystems in India. Looking forward to listening from you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. And first of all, congratulations to STPI for 33 years of Foundation Day. Electronics consumption story in India is really very strong. Last year, we consumed electronics worth almost $120 billion, and this is going to grow to almost $300 billion in next 4 to 5 years. But however, the manufacturing, what's happening today in India is at around 15% value addition. What it means, when the market will be $300 billion, and if we continue at 15% value addition, India will actually make only $45 billion. Still $250 billion will go outside. So let's try to analyze how is the value chain of electronics. 40% value of any electronics product is into components. Now today we are importing almost more than 90% components in India. We don't make semiconductors. Even when it comes to passives like capacitors, inductors, relays, or bare PCB, we are importing more than 90% of that. So we miss out on this component value of 40%. Government of India has taken a great initiative with semiconductor policy already launched, and we have seen wafer fab proposals and ATMP proposals coming in, and over next 3 to 4 years, at least semiconductor fab and ATMP packaging will happen in India. However, SPECS 2, which is expected now to come to in next couple of months, which will address the passive component and bare PCB challenge. So there is a critical need to create this component ecosystem manufacturing in India. That is very, very important, because with PLI scheme, production link incentive scheme, we have created manufacturing ecosystem. With mobile phones, we heard in the morning also, so many mobile phones are getting manufactured. But complete kit from Apple, Samsung, Oppo, Vivo, Xiaomi comes to India, and we do only SMT assembly. That needs to be changed now. If you look at IT hardware PLI 2.0, there is a special incentive for local value addition. If you source component locally, there is an additional incentive. So same thing should happen even for other PLI schemes. Now the next part of value chain is about IP and technology. We have great talent in India, but most of that talent work in the captive design center of global company or as a design services company. You look at semiconductor chip design, right from Intel, Qualcomm, TI, ST Micro, Infineon, NXP, everyone has a captive design center in India. But how many fabulous design companies we have which are designing chips from India for the world market? Same way, embedded electronics, Cisco, Juniper, Bosch, Delphi, Continental, Visteon, ABB, GE, Honeywell, you name it, all global companies have R&D in India. But how many product companies like Tejas Network, Secure Meters we have? Very few. So in consumer electronics, we are getting kits from Samsung, LG, Sony. In IT hardware, we get kits from Dell, HP, Acer. Same way in telecom infrastructure, we get Alcatel, Lucent, now it is Nokia or Ericsson or from Huawei. That needs to be changed. And how we can change it? By creating local product innovation, by creating local IP and technology. And what's the solution? STPI has done a great job in creating this center of excellences. Electropreneur Park, I was involved in drafting the DPR of Electropreneur Park, by the way, for Delhi. Same way, Bhubaneswar, I'm also on committee of Electropreneur Park. STPI, IoT Open Lab, I'm chief mentor at Bangalore. Lot of good initiatives by STPI to really support startups, ecosystem. But what is success rate of startup today in India? It is less than 10%. That needs to be changed now. We have more than 10,000 startups working in embedded electronic space, and how we can make them successful. So what are the key challenges? Why they fail? See, an entrepreneur start his business or with a product idea, and he gets money from his parents or friends, and then there is no funding available for embedded electronic startup. By the way, sir, the DLI scheme supports only fabless semiconductor companies. There is no scheme for embedded electronics design for startups. So we need to have a similar scheme like DLI for embedded electronics. So these startups start their project with some idea. Over the period, they develop a prototype or a proof of concept. But then after spending 1 or 2 years, they realize that either they have created a white elephant which cannot be sold, which is very expensive, or they are not meeting the market expectation. So if they get a good mentoring or guidance when they are at a design stage, that guys use this architecture, use this chipset, which will make you techno-commercially successful, that guidance is missing. So then whatever they have learned in college, they start a project, they do some prototype, and they cannot sell it. So a good mentoring is a critical need. And I'm very happy today, Arvind sir, STPI has launched Sayuj Net platform, which is a fantastic move by STPI, I will say, because it is going to network all the incubators. It is going to integrate all the incubators. It is going to create mentor pool. It is going to network VC community for funding. So you are addressing all the critical problems or challenges which are faced by startup. And I'm very sure we will make this program successful, and we have to improve that success rate of less than 10% to 50% plus for the startup success. Because after 1 or 2 years, when they exhaust their fund, they go back to Infosys and TCS and start the job. And we kill that talent. The guy who has taken a risk, okay, of starting something on his own, there should be an excellent hand-holding funding to that guy to make him a successful. And I think the new platform is going to do that work. Another important thing is scaling and marketing. Okay, once their prototype is successful, how we can really make those startups successful in production. We have excellent EMS manufacturing services now in India, but component availability is still a challenge. We are importing, see, any electronic circuit requires 50 to 100 components minimum. And we are sourcing those components from 25 different vendors from 10 different countries. So logistic cost, inventory carrying cost, a startup or a MSME in China, they get complete kit in just in time. Here my inventory carrying cost in India is more than 1 month. because I have to plan so much in advance to get components from 30 different vendors. So, sir, by the time our wafer fabs and a passive component ecosystem is built over the next 3 to 4 years, there is a critical need to create a component hub in India where we can have a bonded component storage and components are available to startups and MSME in a kit form at a local level. That will definitely help the disability of almost 6 to 8%. Today, importing from 10 different countries, paying forex, planning inventory for 1 month, paying freight for 10 different flights, okay, it adding to 6 to 8% of disability. If we create a component hub in India, this disability can be addressed. Otherwise, the other option for MSME is to buy from Moser and DigiKey online, and those are 100% expensive. Okay, so again, the price goes up. So we have to really, in short term, create a component hub in India to address the supply chain challenge. But again, I would like to congratulate STPI for creating those center of excellences, Electropreneur Park, and the new initiative which is launched today. I really wish we will improve success rate of startup. There are so many entrepreneurs, 10,000 plus startups alone in Bangalore who are doing IoT, AI, and embedded electronics development. If we can really make them successful, so much of IP technology will be created in India, and that value will get captured in India. So that's the key message. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
On important and actionable insights. Also very interesting to note, just like the radiant knowledge being shared here, the lamp we lighted around 4 hours back is still radiating light. Very symbolic of the discussions happening here. As we come to the end of this insightful session, it is my distinct pleasure to invite our session chair, Shri Sushil Pal, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, to the podium to deliver the concluding remarks. With over 23 years of experience in various ministries of the Government of India, Shri Sushil Pal oversees the execution of electronics manufacturing schemes, including semiconductors, PLIs, and specs, and is in charge of the international cooperation and internet governance divisions in his current role. As a focal point and co-chair for the G20 Digital Economy Working Group, he led initiatives on digital public infrastructure and FTA negotiations on digital trade. Looking forward to listening from you, sir.
Thank you. DG STPI. First of all, let me begin by congratulating DG STPI and all the employees and officers of STPI on their 33rd Foundation Day. The esteemed colleague on the dais, I think they have shared in detail a lot as to what should be done for designing and product development in the country. It's not all that bad, you know, I mean, in the electronic manufacturing. After having, this session maybe contrasting with the ITeS success story in the earlier session. But yes, I think we are making a beginning. And we must also note that, you know, we are growing at a CAGR of roughly, what, 20+% when it comes to electronic manufacturing. And we have actually made a very humble beginning in this sector. We must keep that in mind. And it's been only 3 years since the impact of the policies are being seen on the ground as of now. And we have risen from roughly, what, 30 billion 7-8 years back to more than 100 billion now. So we are making a decent progress. But yes, I mean, something to pat on our back, but not, you know, I mean, nothing to be very, I mean, we still have a long mile to go. So as was highlighted, you know, I think we have achieved, I mean, whatever 100 crore, I think 101 billion in the electronic manufacturing we have achieved. It's largely because of assembling. I mean, there is no denying the fact, but that is what it is. You know, I think we began from scratch. We didn't have that even 3 years back. So yes, we still call it Make in India. Whether we can call it, the challenge is, I think this session is, you know, whether we can call it Design in India as well. So as in that aspect, this particular session is very relevant, and congratulate STPI again for the choice of the topic at this timely at this time. So regarding the present scale of play in the design and the product development, I think we in India, I think ISM has a design-linked incentive scheme, which and has also a chip-in center in CDAC, which provides complete. I could not actually understand what Mr. Vijay was talking about when he was talking about design as service, but to my whatever I could comprehend that, CDAC center in chip-in center, it offers all services which a company would need for designing its product, right from the EDA tools for designing, and also the prototyping for the prototyping the hardware labs, wherein they can actually port their designs and actually do the multiple iterations on those designs and get the prototype right, and before they take it to the market. So if that is what if that was the intent, then these services are being provided, and these EDA tools are being provided not only to the DLI beneficiary, but to other company whosoever opts for using the facilities of these EDA tools. And they're always available free of cost to most of the academic institutions. And yes, I think it does have a few challenges. All is not that well. I think we are trying to fire on all cylinders. I mean, I'll go back again to the domestic value add topic which Mr. Keskar was talking about. We presently are having a value add of domestic value add of roughly 20% or so. That's what we report now. And even if we are to actually succeed in and correcting again, as we are actually importing 75% of the components now, as of now. I mean, 90% is not the figure as per the industry estimates. But even if we get the component manufacturing here in the country, I think the domestic value add would go up to what, maybe 35% or so. And that would be a pretty decent, even the country like China has a DVA of 35 to 40% only. However, as was highlighted, the major pie of the value add lie in the IPs. I mean, lie in becoming the ODMs and the, right? So that is where we are missing out, that's where we are missing out the game. So what we can do, I mean, to create ODMs, we have heard a lot, but how do we do it? I think what government can do, I'll spell out a few things, but actually the solutions will have to emerge from the industry. I think a lot has been said, right from the educational system to culture, developing a culture of the entrepreneurship, how do we build leaders and all. But then, I mean, the solutions will have to come from the industry. What government can do, I'll just touch upon a few things, and I would also look for suggestions if the industry has to so yeah, coming, so that was the value add part. However, there are a few challenges, yes. I think first is the funding, other is the sustainability. On the funding part, I think we have plenty of schemes, but all are lying, fragmented. We need to link up the schemes like NGIS to the schemes like DLIS, to the Electronic Development Fund, to the VCs. We need to link this chain. Somehow this chain is missing, right? So many of the startup companies, I think I think although DLIS is funding the fabless company, and that was the intent, I agree that's a gap. I think maybe we would, we have also recently constituted a product nation, a committee on developing India as a product nation. I think maybe committee would take note of, I hope, these things, and Sanjay Keskar is a member of that committee. I think these would form a part of the recommendations of the committee. However, this was yeah. Yeah, so we, as I was saying, we need to link up the funding structure right from the DILS to the EDF. I think EDF1 has been a good success story. We have had a recent review of the Electronic Development Fund, which is run by the Can Bank. And it is not only giving a good return to the government, but it has also resulted in a good funding of the hundreds of the company in the ESGM space as well. And a lot of them are into the automotive as well as the energy space. And we are getting the impact assessment done of that EDF round, first round of EDF funding. And if possible, I think we will examine if there is a need for a second round of EDF funding. The VC thing, I don't know what government can do. Again, we have very few VC players. That's a big contrast we have when we compare it with the countries like US and EU. I think we got only, I guess, 3 players, not more than 3 VC funds, which actually fund the startups in the ESDM space. I mean, I would not name them, but they're not more than 3 or 4 when it comes to funding the VC funding of the ESDM startups. So I think we need to plug this gap. And how do we ensure the sustainability of these companies? I think that's another challenge. I think there's where government can play some role when it comes to demand aggregation, right? I think maybe we need to tweak a bit of Make in India product the procurement policies for the government as such, which, I mean, these are my views. I mean, maybe we need to tweak the policy to make sure that we buy those products, which has the chipsets built in India. I think if we can mandate something like that, as of now, our Make in India policy of, what do you call it, Group 1, Group 2, Class 1, Class 2, sorry. The Class 1, Class 2, they do not prescribe this as a mandatory requirement, but if we can somehow bring in this mandatory requirement that, the Class 1 would be one of those company, I mean, a company would be qualified to be a Class 1 only if it uses the chipsets designed in India. I think that would provide a huge demand aggregation and a huge boost to the Indian company. That's something food for the thought. Maybe the Committee on the Product Nation can look into that if it has not addressed that issue. Also, I think in terms of providing access to the fabs and infrastructure to the startups, I think government is doing a lot when it comes to providing the access to the fabs. Not only the fabs, but also to the packaging. And as I said, the Chip-in Center in Bangalore has a tie-up not only for fabrication and packaging in SCL, but as well as also in the international centers like IMEC and the PSMC as well. I think, and for maybe I think we also need to maybe look at some kind of a comment was made on the standards as well. Maybe we need to examine whether we need to come up with another set of security standards for some of the products. I think that's something which government can look at that. Maybe we would expect the feedback from the industry in that area. So yeah, I think that's all. That will be all from my side. I think, and I thank STPI again for inviting me. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing your perspectives, sir, brimming with insights and strategies. I now request Sri Sushil Palji to felicitate our panelists. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. A very pragmatic session that provides a blueprint for the path ahead. Thank you for doing the honors, sir. I now request Sri Ashok Gupta ji to join us on stage to felicitate Sri Sushil Palji. Thank you for doing the honors, sir. And once again, a big thank you to our panelists for providing this enriching discussion which reinforces our spirit of collaboration and unity towards a path to success. Thank you for that once again. And that brings us to the end of panel discussions for the day. Thank you all for your active participation. The discussions would not have been the same without your presence. Thank you, sir. Yes. Yes, sir. We shall now break for lunch. Lunch is being served in the adjacent hall. Let's go and connect and collaborate with our co-visionaries. And you never know, the next big idea may spark during the lunch there in that hall. See you back after the lunch break, everyone. Thank you so much.